Chapter 13-15. Bei Yunj casually wrapped his tie and threw it to the person in charge. Before he left, he added, "Keep it for me." 2 minutes later. Under the suggestion, they hurriedly changed their makeup. Everyone saw the spotlight turn on and Lu Yuanxi and Chu Zhixing, who were dressed in suits and leather shoes, suddenly appeared on stage. One was holding a violin and the other was holding a saxophone. Chu Zhixing is so handsome. Our medical faculty is so promising. Brother Lu is indeed the top male couple of our top scholar. Help, I'll always love handsome guys in battle. Chu Zhixing pursed his lips. He was not used to this kind of popularity and could only glance coldly at Lu Yuanxi, who insisted on pulling him along to perform. Very quickly, everyone saw the lights on the stage turn on again. On the left was the elegant and cold Song Yao, who was wearing a grayish-blue chiffon dress. On the right, the person who was helping Song Yao walk up the stage had a very different aura. Bei Yunj's burgundy gown was full of aura. Her eyes were lazy and bright, especially the lipstick mark on her cheek that seemed to have been purged and her eyes that were always slightly upturned, making her look extremely bewitching. Is this also a battle makeup? Master Pei is breaking the rules. Someone could not help but say after regaining their senses. The rest of the people in the battle makeup looked cold and fragile. Only her raised eyebrows were very seductive, as if she was trying to steal their souls. This visual feast was so intense that no one in the audience survived. Am I watching the aristocratic banquet of the last century? Song Yao's identity can't be hidden anymore. Family members, 3 of them are injured in battle and 1 is a princess. What does this mean? *CK. I've hit it again. Being injured in battle for the princess is my belief. Who doesn't say that Gu Yao is real when they see this? The couple fans danced crazily. However, Lin Lanjun, who was in front, felt that something was wrong. What was real? With the commotion below the stage, Bei Yunj and Song Yao looked at each other and the piano suddenly sounded. Ah, Gu Yao's forehand duet is too amazing. Oh my god. This group of sharks is crazy, sharks are crazy. In fact, the audience below the stage did not focus on Bei Yunj's group this time. After all, this was usually the home ground of the art faculty. Therefore, from the moment Bei Yunj's group of 4 appeared on the stage to the beginning of their performance, all of them were stunning. Especially Bei Yunj's arrangement. Even if she didn't know much about music, she could tell that it was on a different level from Qin Youjiao's arrangement. Front row. Qin Youjiao, come with me for a while. The music professor glanced at the 4 people on the stage with an unpleasant expression before looking at Qin Youjiao. A dark look flashed across Qin Youjiao's eyes before she smiled at Cheng Zihuai. Zihuai, I'll look for you later. All right. After Cheng Zihuai nodded, Qin Youjiao walked out. The moment she reached the corridor, she heard the professor's question. How dare they use this song? The professor's face was livid. When has Yun University's public activities not attracted the attention of the media? Are they trying to drag Yun University down with them? Teacher, I've already told Yunj that it's best if she doesn't use other people's things. Qin Youjiao bit her lip. At the thought of the commotion Bei Yunj caused below the stage just now, she was also depressed. If you're caught stealing music scores, you'll definitely be punished and even expelled. The professor took a deep breath, but when Qin Youjiao heard this, the corners of her lips curled up slightly. Chapter 13-16. Teacher, I don't know what to do either. Qin Youjiao lowered her head, her eyes red as if she had suffered a lot of grievances. Seeing this, the professor remembered that Qin Youjiao had already left the Qin family and that the Qin family doted on that new elder young miss terribly. How could Qin Youjiao persuade that person? It's not your fault. It's not your fault anyway. She has to bear her own fault, the professor said coldly. He then said, okay, go back early. I'll tell the principal about this and let him prepare in advance. Okay. Qin Youjiao hummed in response. After watching the professor leave, the smile on her lips deepened. This time, she wanted to see how Bei Yunj would turn the tables around. Qin Youjiao returned to the front row. At this moment, all the performances had ended, but the enthusiasm below the stage had already explained everything. Bei Yunj's group's limelight overshadowed everyone else. Qin Youjiao, didn't you say that you had a way? In the end, you still want to see Song Yao and the rest act arrogantly in front of me? Yu Ling could not help gritting her teeth and asking, why are you in such a hurry? Qin Youjiao frowned, not understanding what that person from the Fu family liked about Yu Ling. An idiot who was nothing but her face. Suddenly, a voice from behind interrupted them. Oh my god, Bei Yunj's group is too strong. My friends from the music department are all playing their groups recording crazily. They say that it's an original work by a god and they beat Qin Yojiao's group. Qin Yojiao's expression darkened immediately. "Sai, you can't say that. One is in art while the other is in style. Isn't it quite good?" Hearing this, everyone could not ignore Qin Yojiao's $1 million gown. "Why do I feel that Song Yao's group's gown is not worse than Qin Yojiao's group?" Someone scratched his head. Everyone's discussion gradually disappeared. It was not until the end of the speech that the crowd suddenly started discussing again, as if something strange was spreading. 10 minutes later, Song Yao was removing her makeup backstage when she suddenly received a call from her manager. "Sister, why are you calling me so late?" Song Yao's voice was gentle, but the other party was extremely irritable. "Why aren't you anxious at all? Do you know that the domestic fashion industry is about to ban you? 2 second-tier magazines even rejected your shoot." Song Yao frowned. "What happened? You performed at school today? Where did the clothes come from?" Song Yao could roughly guess what had happened and only said, "A friend gave it to me." "What kind of mess is that, sister?" Song Yao's voice was cold and the manager knew that Song Yao was really angry. However, the manager was about to go crazy. Okay, I didn't choose my words carefully. But today it's obvious that someone wants to mess with you. The article says that you're wearing a fake Gus outfit. Now you're on the hot search list. You know, Gus is the ceiling of the industry. Other brands will make an example of you. If you don't handle it well, you'll be frozen out of the fashion industry. Song Yao's brows twitched. "I understand. I'll do as I see fit." "Do as you see fit?" "If it was before, I could ask you if you could ask Miss Pei for help. Now, she can't even protect herself. How can she still have the time to help you?" "What do you mean? What do you mean you can't even protect yourself?" Song Yao's tone suddenly changed. The manager was speechless. He wasn't worried about his own matters, but he was worried about others. What kind of sin did she commit to have such a Buddhist artist? "You don't know?" Fang Shiyun forwarded Bei Yunji's performance video and pointed out that she plagiarized her work. Chapter 13-17. Fang Shiyun? Song Yao furrowed her eyebrows. "I'll go take a look." After that, Song Yao hung up and scrolled through Fang Shiyun's social media account. Fang Shiyun v. "For the sake of brother you, I didn't want to say it, but young lady, aren't you being too brazen? Kissing You on a Rainy Day is an original song that I wrote in 3 months. This is the passion of an original writer. Campus skinning. Everyone look at this original song from Yunda. Isn't it similar to Fang Shiyun's Kiss You on a Rainy Day?" Video. Scrolling to the bottom of the comments section, they were all filled with curses. Film Emperor Qin's sister is only at this level? A Sanchi movie king can't teach his younger sister how to arrange music? It's really the tune of Kissing You on a Rainy Day. She can't clear her name now. What's the use of doing well in the exams? If you have a bad character, you're trash. Smile? Is this how Film Emperor Qin teaches his sister? My heart aches for my Yun being scammed by Senior's younger sister. Birds of a feather flock together. Isn't the person next door wearing a fake high-end dress her best friend? Why didn't anyone check the origins of Film Emperor Qin's sister's gown? Who knows, there might be a surprise as well. After reading it, Song Yao's expression became unreadable. About half an hour later, Song Yao walked to the changing room and made a call. After the call went through, the other party laughed. "Why are you willing to contact me now? I thought you would never want to see me again." "I need your help." Song Yao pursed her lips. "You need my help?" Song Su, who was far away in Continent K, was stunned. This cousin of his looked as gentle as water, but deep down, she was unyielding and never bowed her head to anyone. Even if the Song family went bankrupt and was in debt, she, as the eldest daughter of the Song family, was not willing to accept any help from him. "Yao, big brother is willing to help you." Song Su's voice was gentle. However, there was no warmth in Song Yao's eyes. She only clenched her fists. "I have a friend who was accused of plagiarism. Do you really believe that she didn't copy?" "I believe you." Song Yao's soft voice was filled with an unprecedented certainty. Seeing that the netizens were scolding Bei Yunji and Song Yao as street rats, Yuling finally heaved a sigh of relief. Soon, she used her main account, which had more than 100,000 followers, to post something. "Fish in porridge. Respect the original creator, respect the inheritor of traditional craftsmanship." Not long after, the big influencers in the fashion industry also reposted it and mocked Bei Yunji and Song Yao, but most of their attention was still on Song Yao. After all, this matter was related to the fashion industry and Song Yao was a public figure. Late at night, an online carnival about the crusade once again kicked off. Many people kept sending private messages to Song Yao, Qin Yu, and Qin Lang, photoshopping their photos and cursing crazily. However, Bei Yunj, who was helping out in Si Qingyan's laboratory, had been doing experiments the entire night and did not know about the bloody storm outside. 5:30 in the morning. The moment Si Qingyan woke up, he saw that Bei Yunj was still doing data research. She looked energetic and did not look like she had stayed up all night. Master Pei? You did it the whole night? Bei Yunj glanced at him expressionlessly. Otherwise. Not long after. After Bei Yunj finished her experiment, she was about to go out for breakfast when she suddenly realized that there were dozens of missed calls on her phone. They were all from Yu Manran and Song Yao. Bei Yunj was about to call back when Yu Manran called again. She had just picked up the call when she heard Yu Manran's words. Fang Shiyun, that little b***tis, I'm going to skin her alive today. How dare she call me a thief and come to my guru's head. Chapter 13:18. Bei Yunj was speechless. What's wrong? Yu Manran did not expect the other party to suddenly call. Yunj, why did you only pick up now? I was so anxious that I didn't sleep all night. Bei Yunj's eyebrows moved. My phone was on silent in the laboratory yesterday. Did something happen? I see. After Yu Manran regained his senses, he immediately gritted his teeth and said, Yunj, do you know what that b***tis Fang Shiyun is up to? She actually said online that you plagiarized her song, Heavenly Kiss You? I'm so angry. This little b***tch has the cheek to say that you plagiarized? That song of hers was originally a copy of your Spring Night Banquet. She used the fact that it's difficult to defend her rights in the country to claim that she's the most talented woman. Fang Shiyun? Bei Yunj thought for a moment and remembered that she had seen this person before. At her brother's party. Yunj, how about this? I'll go and find my brother to hide that woman and get someone to suppress the news. Yu Manran took a deep breath and said. However, Bei Yunj walked towards the canteen. Her tone was casual but it was cold. Why are you suppressing the news? Do I look like I'm here for charity? Interesting. She was trying to cause trouble for her. Yu Manran did not understand what Bei Yunj meant. There's no hurry. It's fine as long as it doesn't implicate anyone else. After Bei Yunj finished speaking, Yu Manran frowned and slowly told Bei Yunj something. Yunj, Song Yao was accused of wearing a fake Gus haute couture. Currently, someone is investigating what brand of gown you wore that day. But don't worry, I've already asked my brother to settle this matter. He definitely won't. Bei Yunj stopped in her tracks and suddenly laughed ambiguously. There's no need to let Yu Hanran handle it. Someone will settle this matter. There were endless criticisms online. Song Yao's manager was even called by the higher-ups to ask Song Yao to apologize at the press conference. They were forcing Song Yao to admit it under the pressure of public opinion. Song Yao, don't you know how much trouble you've caused the company? In the past, you had Big Sister Man's protection so no one cared about you. But you actually dared to wear fake high-end clothing in school? Are you trying to send all our artistes to a dead end? The director reprimanded Song Yao arrogantly. The manager pursed her lips. Director, Yao Yao is still young. If you're young, you should be obedient and not play tricks all day long. First, you seduced Sister Qin Yu, then you seduced our Sister Man. The director had long felt threatened by Song Yao and her manager. After all, one of the artistes under her happened to have the same type as Song Yao. Besides, Song Yao was born with this personality. Her eyes were pure and gentle, full of spirituality. This type of artist was born to be popular. Think about it carefully. You can either apologize obediently or pay the penalty of 10 million yuan and get out of the company now. The director said coldly. Song Yao was silent for a while before she suddenly smiled and said, Director Wang, are you playing word games with me? Did I sign with the company to apologize? Song Yao's manager felt inexplicably proud. Although her Yao Mei was not the most popular, she was the most educated in the company. After all, he was a top student in the philosophy department of Yun University. Song Yao, do you think I can't cure? The director was furious. Before he could finish speaking, the landline suddenly rang. After the manager answered the call, she said hesitantly, Yao Yao, President Ming wants you to go to his office. The director laughed coldly. Song Yao, I want to see how arrogant you can be. Chapter 13:19. The director sneered and walked out arrogantly. However, the manager strangely felt that President Ming's attitude just now seemed to be very happy. Was this an illusion? Let's go. Song Yao did not care about this. If the company really wanted to freeze her, she would study hard and talk about other things in the future. However, the moment they reached the top floor, Song Yao heard the director scolding her for her arrogant behavior. Wearing fake haute couture. Isn't she obviously sending her head to the fashion industry? She didn't know if she wanted to go crazy or drag the entire company down with her. President Ming, a person like Song Yao is a scourge if she stays in the company. We must make her pay the price. Before she could finish speaking, President Ming walked forward quickly, his face beaming. Yao Yao, have you been under a lot of pressure recently? Do you feel any discomfort? Aya, if you're too busy, we should take less commercials and variety shows. Young people's health is more important. Hearing this, the atmosphere gradually turned strange. The manager was speechless. What was going on? Didn't the boss seem to have gone crazy last night and wanted to scold Song Yao? Boss, you want to talk to me about terminating the contract, right? With that said, President Ming immediately said, Yao Yao, I take care of you like my daughter. How can you want to terminate the contract? Seeing President Ming about to cry, Song Yao had goosebumps all over her body. The director was even more dumbfounded. President Ming, what's wrong with you? About Song Yao wearing fake haute couture yesterday, did you? Director Wang, watch your words. What do you mean by fake haute couture? The Gus headquarters personally called to admit that it's a super seasonal haute couture. How can it be fake? President Ming reprimanded. The director's face paled. What? How is this possible? Not only the director, even Song Yao and her manager were dumbfounded. Yao Yao, why didn't you explain to me? The manager was stunned. Song Yao was speechless. I didn't even know that this was a super seasonal Gus couture. Would you believe me? Yao Yao, you're so capable. The manager looked excited. Song Yao was speechless. At the same time, the people on the internet were still cursing crazily, joking that Song Yao was the #1 fake haute couture princess. And before this, someone had already posted a post. Fandom debauchee, this melon is real. The company of a certain highly educated and popular starlet who had been in trouble recently had a meeting and had decided to give up on her. It couldn't be helped. The influence of wearing fake haute couture was too bad. If they were banned by the fashion industry, even the company would be affected if they borrowed haute couture in the future. Therefore, in these 3 days, if the popular starlet doesn't come out to apologize, she will face a huge compensation. Seeing this, the crowd became excited. Finally, Green Tea Song is being treated. I hope Green Tea Song's bootlickers follow her shameless master out of the fandom. If you can't afford to wear high-end clothes, then don't wear them. I don't understand the vanity of female celebrities. Qin Yo Jiao is the elder young miss to begin with, what's there to compare? Carry away my Jiao. I advise Song Yao's fans not to flirt with the B*cheese first. Tiske, that real daughter of Song Yao's might also be a fake haute couture, right? Let's look into it together. However, about half an hour later, everyone realized that something magical had happened. Gus headquarters actually took the initiative to follow Song Yao's social media account and even took the initiative to claim that gown. Gus headquarters, fighting for the princess is my faith to the death. Song Yao. Gus super seasonal haute couture gown photo. The photo was of Song Yao's blurry campus stage photo. P.S. Okay, let's go out for breakfast. Chapter 13:20. Instantly. Everyone looked at this post, but no one was able to react. Especially those in the fashion industry who had defamed Song Yao at lightning speed. They were simply slapped in the face by this wave of actions. However, when they regained their senses, everyone exploded. They reposted and commented. What the F***ck? Gus actually borrowed a super seasonal haute couture gown? Since when can artistes in the entertainment industry receive such treatment? There seem to be only 3 artistes in our country who can successfully borrow a haute couture gown and get approved by the Gus headquarters. They are all ruthless characters in the industry. What kind of big shot backing does Song Yao have? She's too strong. Haha, why are Qin Yo Jiao's fans so pitiful? They're showing off everywhere that Jiao Jiao is a princess in a million-yuan gown. The netizens aren't even worthy of carrying her shoes. In the end, the real Princess Gus is wearing a super seasonal haute couture gown. She's really killing several levels. Does her face hurt? This is my first time seeing such a simple and high-quality photo of Gus claiming it. It was actually claimed by the headquarters. According to the time difference, they should have claimed it as soon as they got to work. I can see how anxious the Gus headquarters is. Daddy Gus really dotes on his sister, Doghead. However, seeing these comments, Qin Yo Jiao's fans were unhappy and started to scold the passers-by crazily. A group of netizens who don't know anything other than talking nonsense. You only like to worry about nothing. My Yojiao is 21 years old and wearing a million-yuan gown. She's studying music at Yun University. Do you need to be jealous? If you're so free, come and carry my Yojiao's shoes. I won't carry her shoes. I'm not your brainless fan who likes to flatter people. I'm dying of laughter. I bought the million-yuan gown that Yojiao is wearing herself. Can Song Yao buy this haute couture herself first? Not long after the last comment went viral, to everyone's surprise, the brand's official account actually replied. Gus headquarters replied to Yojiao's little wife. She didn't buy it, but it was a gift. A gift? F***ck Song Yao's connections are amazing? She gave her a super seasonal haute couture just like that? It's just a gown. How amazing is it? It's as if she can't afford it. This comment with a sour tone was quickly forwarded by a fashion influencer. I don't know if others can afford it, but you probably won't be able to afford it in this lifetime. The big shots in the industry have already given Song Yao's ultra-seasonal custom-made appraisal. The conservative price should be around 14 million yuan. Through this trending topic, the netizens were also shocked. It was as if they had entered a magical world. Are these the clothes that the female lead usually wears? This poor man is crying. However, there were also some people who tried to continue to blackmail her by buying expensive, high-end custom-made gowns. I'm speechless. I don't know what kind of twisted view of money they have. Are Song Yao's fans very proud to spend so much money on a gown? Don't you think that your master is a lackey of the capital and is bringing about a vicious influence on the public? Can Qin Yojiao's fans grow some brains? Advanced customization was not a profitable business for the fashion capital, and the profit was only 1% of the group. The annual high-end fashion show was not only to expand the brand, but also to protect the heritage of our nation's traditional craftsmanship. However, our country's traditional textile and embroidery techniques are also very good. It's just that they haven't been properly protected yet. The commenter above is right. Don't tell me you really think that the elder young miss can wear high-end gowns like Gus every day? Everyone wake up. There are about 4,000 people in the world who buy haute couture, but there are only 200 regular customers. Chapter 13:21. I've learned something new. Even bystanders can be educated. Some countries really value traditional arts and crafts. I also hope that our country's traditional arts and crafts can flourish. Other aspects are getting better and better. Yes, the torch will be passed down forever and the country will prosper forever. However, Qin Yojiao's fans who were already in battle mode were still indignant. She didn't sign an endorsement or act as an ambassador. She's just an ordinary second-tier girl, yet she's wearing Gus? Who would believe that there's nothing going on? As a woman, I feel that it's very humiliating to have someone like her. I have a conspiracy theory. Previously, I said that Song Yao had good resources, but the top lady of Song Yao's company is Yu Manran. Even Yu Manran borrowed high-end clothes. What right does she have to be sent to Gus? Haha, I don't believe that Song Yao doesn't have a sugar daddy. Who knew? Qin Yojiao's fans were about to jump when Gus posted another post. Gus headquarters. Miss Pei Rose. Gus commemorative high-end custom-made gown, the new work of the chief designer Mr. Gao Meng. Just these 3 words showed how much importance Gus placed on this person. What was even more unexpected was that not only was the photo posted by Gus high in resolution, but they had also consciously cut off half of her face in the photo. This was probably the first time that Gus had claimed a photo that did not show her face. It also made the usually noble and cold Gus seem humble and heartbreaking. The bystanders were in an uproar. F***ck, I'm going to die. It was actually designed by old Mr. Gao Meng? Old Mr. Gao Meng has only designed commemorative gowns for 2 people in the past 10 years. One is the current queen of our nation's royal family, and the other is this person. My scalp is numb. What kind of F***king treatment does this person get? Is this really the young lady of the Qin family? Qin, you didn't receive such treatment at Gus, right? Ha. I'm willing to call the real young lady of the Qin family a face-slapping demon. However, Gus did not forget to Song Yao in the comments section. When will our sugar daddy be free to come to our nation? Song Yao, the netizens immediately flooded in. Ha, Gus, what's wrong with you? As the top one in the fashion industry, why are you suddenly so humble? Alright, not only did Gus prove that he has a sugar daddy, but he also casually hammered himself. Doghead. I love you so much. Can you ask your sugar daddy if I still have a chance? I don't want to work hard anymore, Song Yao. Qin Yojiao's fans, stop criticizing Song Yao. It's embarrassing just looking at her. So Billion God and Sister Sheikh are B? I cried. I'm speechless. Has everyone forgotten that the real daughter plagiarized? I'm dying of laughter. Until now there's still no response to the plagiarism issue. Who's the one being embarrassed? To be able to be with such a morally corrupt person, it can be seen that Song Yao isn't a good person either. The trending searches were in an uproar. But not long after, another piece of information was revealed. The informant claimed to be an old acquaintance of Yu Ling. They were just nodding acquaintances, but he had always disliked Yu Ling's way of doing things. Hence, he posted an old photo of Yu Ling and claimed that this was the second time Yu Ling had worn this Gus gown. Therefore, Yu Ling was mocked by passers-by because she had just mentioned Song Yao and looked down on her for wearing Gus. Yu Ling could not stand these negative comments and immediately called Qin Yojiao for help. However, she did not expect to be blocked before she could finish. Qin Yojiao laughed coldly. Such a piece of trash still has the cheek to ask me for help? What should we do, Yojiao? The public opinion on Bei Yunj online seems to be gradually improving. Fang Shiyun's face was pale. Don't you have evidence? Now that you've posted it, it's also trending. What are you afraid of? Chapter 1322. Qin Yojiao's voice was unusually impatient, making Fang Shiyun not dare to say anything. The atmosphere was cold. At the thought of Bei Yunj and Song Yao wearing Gus haute couture, Qin Yojiao's expression was exceptionally ugly. From Qin Yojiao's point of view, it was obvious that those two pieces of haute couture were prepared for Bei Yunj by that person from the Huo family. At this thought, the jealousy in Qin Yojiao's heart could not be quelled. Fang Shiyun probed, "Must my evidence be sent up now?" Qin Yojiao asked sarcastically, "You don't dare to do it now?" Fang Shiyun, "It's not bad that you're popular now, but if you're caught, do you think Qin Yu and the rest will let you off?" Fang Shiyun's face paled. "But didn't you say, so as long as you listen to me nothing will happen to you?" With that said, Qin Yojiao picked up her bag and prepared to leave. "I'll give you half an hour to send it out immediately. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that Qin Yu won't come looking for you." Hearing this, Fang Shiyun immediately panicked. Qin Yu was famous for being protective. Even if she was popular now, her status in the industry was worlds apart from Qin Yu's. She could tell now that Qin Yojiao was clearly using her on purpose. Half an hour later, Fang Shiyun posted something online again. "Fang Shiyun, I didn't want to say much at first, but I've been privately messaged many times. This is my first draft. It's a record of 3 months. I hope Miss Pei can give me an explanation. Picture, picture, picture." After reading it, everyone had different comments. There's a way to clear the gown, but how can she clear the plagiarism? I advise some people not to be a bootlicker. A normal person has fans too? I'm vomiting. Song Yao's fans from next door actually have the cheek to bite Jiao Fan. No matter what, Qin Yu has never had a stain on him since he debuted, except for this younger sister. Did you notice that Qin Yu and Qin Lang didn't jump out to protect her this time? The two male leads they were talking about were extremely angry at this moment. Did someone in the company touch my account? Qin Yu's tone was not good and his handsome face appeared dark. Absolutely not. The manager was also very surprised. Why couldn't Qin Yu log into his account? But how could the company dare to control Qin Yu? The manager was glad that Qin Yu couldn't go up and didn't get involved in this mess. Over at Qin Lang's side, something similar was happening out of nowhere. It was as if someone didn't want them to speak. Song Yao was sitting in the classroom. As soon as someone called, she immediately answered the call. Song Su was surprised. After a moment of silence, he said, "You want me to manage Bei Yunj?" "Yes." Song Su laughed, adjusted his Bluetooth headset and continued driving. "That's none of my business." "What do you mean?" Song Yao frowned. "I say, Yao Yao, are you treating your cousin as a tool?" Song Yao said nothing and Song Su continued, "Actually, I've seen her before and I quite like her. But silly Yao Yao, does she need me to meddle in other people's business?" Song Su also comforted her, "Don't worry, she can solve this matter." Hearing Song Su say this, Song Yao suddenly remembered the relationship between Bei Yunj and the International Musicians Association. In the shooting gallery, Bei Yunj had just put down her bow when she received a call. "We've investigated the matter. Recently, Fang Shiyun and Qin Yojiao have been very close. What do you want to do with these two people?" Bei Yunj sneered, her tone casual and cold. "If I don't give these two pieces of trash a surprise, how will they know to be obedient? P.S. Thank you for helping Master Pei. He's currently 4th in the monthly votes. Not bad." Chapter 1323. Hearing this, Even the person on the other end of the line felt a chill run down his spine. He could feel the hostility in his words. At this moment, it was obvious that there was a team behind the way Bei Yunj was being defamed online. The netizens were in high spirits and even affected the Qin family's businesses. Until 8:30 p.m. Everyone suddenly realized that an overseas company account that had not posted for 5 years had moved. K&E Law Firm. According to the evidence provided by the International Musicians Association, hereinafter referred to as the International Musicians Association, Country A's singer Fang Shiyun has released her work, Kiss You on a Rainy Day, in Country A. She has plagiarized Ms. Yun's work, Spring Night Banquet. This action has seriously harmed Ms. Yun's legal rights and interests. Our law firm has accepted the special entrustment of the International Musicians Association. We will collect evidence and prepare a lawsuit according to the law. We will definitely pursue the legal responsibility of the infringer, Ms. Fang Shiyun. Yuan Fang Shiyun? Everyone was stunned when they saw the evidence posted by KE Law Firm. This was a death sentence. F***CK? Is Fang Shiyun shameless? She plagiarized Yuan and still has the cheek to accuse others of plagiarism? Why aren't the talented female fans stomping their feet? Let's see how you talented women become famous. Ha ha ha, they actually hired KNE. Is God Yuan planning to strip Fang Shiyun of her underwear this time? I can't take it anymore. Plagiarize my God Yuan. Goodbye, Yun's plagiarism. Why don't you King go to heaven? Fang Shiyun, hashtag Fang Shiyun get out of the entertainment industry hashtag. No one expected the public opinion to reverse. Fang Shiyun had already become a street rat that everyone wanted to beat up. However, real heiresses did not have many fans, but Yuan was a real god with tens of millions of fans. Even some musicians who had not posted for hundreds of years came out to support Yun's rights. After that, Yun's fans immediately dug out that 14 of Fang Shiyun's 19 songs were suspected of plagiarism. Hashtag most likely plagiarizing Fang Shiyun hashtag this post was also pushed to the top of the trending searches by Yun's fans. Fang Shiyun's fans were so angry that they stomped their feet, but they could not beat Yun's fans next door. Everyone was horrified by the overwhelming combat power of Yuan fans. I don't believe that Fang Shiyun's plagiarism. Now that he's here, he's probably trying to ride on the popularity and get paid for it, right? Fang Shiyun's fans are really shameless. With just the popularity of your pig brain, God Yuan wants to freeload? God Yuan single-handedly raised you Manran and helped Qin you break through the bottleneck. Which celebrity doesn't crush that useless person from your family? If you want to, just do it. What? Do you have to pick a date to mess with your plagiarist dog? However, God Yuan and film Emperor Qin should have a good relationship. It's not strange for her to come. However, the matter of film Emperor Qin's sister plagiarizing isn't fake. In that case, did film Emperor Qin's sister plagiarize Yuan? After looking at the top of the hot search list, Fang Shiyun couldn't help but scream and directly throw her phone away. How could this be? Fang Shiyun's face turned ugly. When she saw her manager walking over, she immediately grabbed her and questioned her. Didn't you say it could be solved? Why would this matter be exposed? It was the company who said it. If this matter was exposed, Yuan would not be able to kill her. After all, there were loopholes in the law that could be exploited. The manager's face turned pale. Sister Yun, this matter has blown up. There's news from the legal department that the other party is preparing to use our nation's law to sue us for infringement. Besides, the other party's lawyer is Yang Shuang from KNE. She has never lost any of her subsequent cases. Fang Shiyun's heart instantly turned cold. Chapter 1324. KE could be said to be the largest law firm in our nation, and Yang Shuang was the lawyer who made KE's opponents tremble and fear the most in recent years. However, even KNE did not expect Yang Shuang to take on such a small case. What do you mean? Will I lose if we go to court? Fang Shiyun's voice was sharp and she seemed a little crazy. Sister Yun, go and beg Wang. The legal department said that Yang Shuang is a very scary person. Not only will she make you spit out everything you've taken, she will also make you lose all the savings you've accumulated over the years. Is there no other way? No one can help me fight the lawsuit with her? Fang Shiyun kept scratching her head and asking. However, the moment she finished speaking, all she received was silence. It was only after her manager persuaded her to leave that Fang Shiyun, whose heart was dead, suddenly heard her phone ring. Her eyes lit up, thinking that it was Qin Yojiao, but she did not expect it to be an unknown number. However, when she answered the call, Fang Shiyun's face paled. Miss Fang, aren't you going to look at the messages on your phone? I took so many exciting photos of Miss Fong. Aren't you going to enjoy them together? Fang Shiyun's face paled and she quickly checked the messages she had received. They were all photos of her meeting with Qin Yojiao in the past few days. How did you? Fang Shiyun forced herself to calm down. Qin Yojiao and I are old classmates. What's wrong with meeting? Really? When Miss Fang and your old classmates meet, do you always like to discuss how to deal with the people you don't like? Fang Shiyun panicked. What are you talking about? I don't understand what you mean at all. However, the other party's attitude was cold. You don't understand? Then I'll post the recording online and see if everyone will understand. Wait. Fang Shiyun's heart immediately jumped to her throat. She gritted her teeth. What do you want? Miss Fang, the price is 20 million. The other party was blatantly extorting her, but at this moment Fang Shiyun could not refuse. She made up her mind. Give me your account number. Miss Fang, you didn't do this alone. Don't make it too hard on yourself. The other party seemed to be giving her pointers. After hanging up the call, Fang Shiyun finally remembered that the culprit of all of this was Qin Yojiao. How could Qin Yojiao be left alone? At this thought, Fang Shiyun immediately called Qin Yojiao. Fang Shiyun, are you an idiot? You actually dared to give me? When you met me, someone took a picture and recorded our conversation. Qin Yojiao, we're in the same boat now. If you dare to get off the boat early, I'll definitely drag you down with me. Fang Shiyun threatened with a dark expression. Qin Yojiao, who was in the piano room, was furious. She never thought that she would be threatened one day. Qin Yojiao was so angry that her lungs hurt. What do you want? Plagiarism is a stupid thing you did. I can't help you with anything. Someone extorted 20 million from me. Transfer it to him first. Taking a deep breath, Qin Yojiao almost fainted from anger. Where would I get so much money? I don't care so much. When I go to court, I might lose even more. Qin Yojiao, if it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have been sued. Fang Shiyun said fiercely and hung up the phone. Qin Yojiao's heart was burning with anxiety. Afraid that Fang Shiyun would go all out, she asked her for her account and phone number. 20 minutes later. When Qin Yojiao saw the 20 million yuan transfer from an overseas bank, she gritted her teeth and braced herself to transfer the money to the receiving account. Chapter 1325. Qin Yojiao glanced at the transfer record and closed her eyes when she thought of what that woman had said just now. If it wasn't for Bei Yunj, she wouldn't have had to make a deal with that woman. At this thought, Qin Yojiao touched up her makeup and left the school. In Higgins Corporation's Yunqing department. She gave this 20 million yuan without hesitation. Niayu mocked. Soon, the technician's eyebrows relaxed and he straightened his back. Brother Nia, I've checked. The person who sent the money is Qin Yojiao. Beautiful. Niayu chuckled, but his eyes were cold. Organize everything and send it to boss email. Okay. At the same time. After hearing Qin Yojiao talk about the situation online, Mr. Qin could not help frowning. Dad, even our Qin family's business has been affected by this matter. Although Fang Shiyun also copied Yun's song, Yun's fans are now aiming at Yunj and won't let her off easily. Qin Yojiao looked worried. In this way, I'm afraid second brother's career will be affected. You don't know how powerful that Yun is. I knew it. That girl is simply a jinx, Mrs. Qin mocked. Yuang, it's the father's fault for not teaching his child well. If Gur did such a thing, whose fault do you think it is? Mr. Qin's words choked Mrs. Qin. A dark look flashed past Qin Yojiao's eyes. Dad, since Yunj did it, it's better to let her apologize than to continue like this. Jiao Jiao is right. If she doesn't admit it, it will affect our Qin family. If she doesn't apologize, let her get out of the Qin family. Get out of the Qin family. Get out of the Qin family. Tong Yuang, that's my daughter. Mr. Qin seemed to have accumulated his anger for a long time and exploded at Mrs. Qin. With that said, Mr. Qin went upstairs to call Qin Yu to ask about the situation, not even looking at Mrs. Qin. This cold attitude made Mrs. Qin so angry that she wiped her tears. Mom, don't blame Dad. Dad just feels sorry for Yunj. After all, we should feel guilty towards her. After Qin Yojiao comforted her, Mrs. Qin said hatefully, she's a jinx. Without her around, our family is fine. Mom, don't say that. I know Yunj has always missed you. Just call Yunj and persuade her. As long as she admits it and apologizes properly, no one will scold her again. Mrs. Qin was silent for a moment before calling Bei Yunj. However, she did not expect that Bei Yunj would simply hang up and blacklist her as soon as she heard her voice. He was not sloppy at all. Mrs. Chin was instantly flustered and exasperated, and her eyes turned red. How could I have given birth to this? Arrogant and despotic, he's simply a bastard. Qin Yojiao suppressed the smile on her lips and pretended to comfort her. Mom, we have to solve the problem between Yunj and the Qin family now. Mrs. Qin was furious. Hearing Qin Yojiao's words, she took out her phone with a sneer and posted a status. Madam Qin, I don't understand why she is like this. Just because the Qin family had wronged her in the past, she wanted to implicate everyone? Bei Yunj, since you refuse to admit that you plagiarized and refuse to give everyone an explanation, then don't join the Qin family. They used to be the best family, but now they couldn't reunite. Picture. She was talking about Bei Yunj, but the picture that Mrs. Qin posted was of the Qin couple, Qin Yojiao and Qin Yu. It was obvious that she was telling everyone online that Qin Yojiao was chased away because of Bei Yunj. She wanted to use public opinion to pressure Bei Yunj to leave the Qin family. P.S. Okay, Master Pei is going all out in the next round. Chapter 1326. When Qin Yojiao saw Mrs. Qin's post, the corners of her lips curled up slightly and she reposted Mrs. Qin's words. Qin Yojiao, everyone makes mistakes. Just change if you know your mistakes. Rabbit, Mrs. Qin, I can't understand. At this moment there were all sorts of comments. It's really the real young lady who plagiarized? She can't clear her name now. Mrs. Qin probably tolerated it for a long time and couldn't stand seeing her do evil. She sent her beloved child away. A certain real young lady is really narrow-minded. Anyway, I support Mrs. Qin to place righteousness before family. No, she's her daughter after all. Didn't you break off your relationship long ago? The real young lady is really pitiful. To be honest, isn't it funny that the real young lady is pitiful? It was clearly her and Song Yao who were on the trending searches, but in the end my Jiao Jiao was mocked. You should bring Yo Jiao back as soon as possible. After all, you've raised her for so long. Since it's true that the real young lady plagiarized, why can she go into hiding? Come out and apologize to everyone, disgusting thing. Among them there were even people who spoke carefully. To be honest, I don't really dare to eat the real young lady's melon. I keep remembering that I was slapped in the face. Slapped in the face? This time she can't even turn the tables. She'll definitely be blamed. Could it be that Wyan plagiarized her? I'm dying of laughter. On the internet, because of Mrs. Qin's words, the popularity rose. After all, who didn't like to watch a drama between wealthy families? As soon as Bei Yunj returned to school, she heard that the music department's professor was confronting the principal because of her plagiarism. Because she had tarnished the reputation of Yun University's music department, the professors unanimously asked Bei Yunj to drop out. Besides, because of the pressure of public opinion, Song Yao's situation was not good either. Although the company was protecting her, the negative impact of her and Bei Yunj's trending searches recently was too great. Even the local Film and Television Actors Association jointly requested that Song Yao take a break from acting for at least 2 years. Bei Yunj sat at the back of the classroom and scrolled up slowly, but her eyes gradually turned cold. Until Nyeyu sent a message. Boss, I'm ready. Can we start? Bei Yunj's lips curled up carelessly and replied to his message. 3 minutes later. Suddenly, someone reposted Mother Qin's post. International Musicians Association. Thank you for your attention to YUN. At the same time, on behalf of our association member YUN, I officially send a lawyer's letter to Mrs. Qin, Ms. Tong Yuang. Since when did plagiarism exist when one borrowed another's work? Please delete the rumor and apologize to Ms. Yuan. Otherwise, our association will reserve the right to pursue the matter according to law. Madam Qin. When they saw this statement, everyone read it once, then continued to read it for the third and fourth time before they reacted. Little question mark, do you have a lot of friends? I understand every single word of this statement, but why do they make me doubt my life when they are put together? This turn of events had caused the entire network to crash. Even the netizens and the social app were sent away. Many people were suddenly forced out of the application when they refreshed the page. They were still confused about what was going on. What was going on? The network exploded? But when he checked the signal, there was nothing wrong with it. Half an hour later. The internet crash had just been repaired, and a few topics related to YUN had already rushed to the top of the list. There was a dark red word beside it. Hashtag YUN herself borrows herself hashtag YUN hashtag. At this moment, a large number of onlookers were itching because they could not enter the topic. P.S. Good night. Chapter 1327. Strange? Why isn't it trending? Si Qingyan from the principal's office was also watching. The veins on the principal's forehead were about to pop out. Si Qingyan. Everyone is discussing important matters, yet you still have the time to look at the trending topics? Si Qingyan moved his eyelids and said leisurely, if you want to expel Bei Yunj, then there's no point for me to stay at Yun University. Si Qingyan continued to click on the trending topics in boredom. That's great. Our computing institute still wants her back. The principal was speechless. Professor C, aren't you too concerned about Bei Yunj? Although you're not much older than Bei Yunj, shouldn't you pay attention to your status? Someone said sarcastically. Another professor from the music department also said sternly, Principal, no matter what, Bei Yunj has brought too much influence to our Yun University's music faculty. I insist that Bei Yunj drop out. But until now we haven't investigated clearly. What's there to investigate? Could it be that those music scores are fake? Bei Yunj did such a dirty thing in the Qin family. Suddenly, a voice sounded from outside the door. What did my granddaughter do in the Qin family to make the professors of the music department so unhappy? Everyone's expressions changed slightly. In the blink of an eye, they met Lin Lanjuan's dark eyes and felt inexplicably guilty. Director Lin, Si Qingyan called out politely. What do you mean? Principal, I was just about to go overseas to research the northern virus in the name of Yun University, and you're going to expel my granddaughter? Lin Lanjun questioned. The principal's eyelids twitched. Director Lin, you've misunderstood. How is this possible? Yesterday, when Lin Lanjun came looking for them and said that she had agreed to go overseas to solve the problem of the northern virus with other researchers, everyone heaved a sigh of relief. After all, there was no one more suitable than Lin Lanjun. Is Director Lin planning to return to Yun University? I didn't expect Director Bei Yunj to go to this extent for her granddaughter. The music professors usually like Qin Yojiao the most and cherish talents. Of course, they couldn't stand Bei Yunj being protected by Lin Lanjun. Principal Lin, although we are juniors, we also feel sorry for our students. For the sake of your granddaughter, is the reputation of all the students in the music department not important? Another professor said with certainty, if Director Lin thinks that we have wronged your granddaughter, why don't you prove it to us? If you're right, we'll apologize to your granddaughter immediately. What do you think? The professors of the music department looked at Dean Lin mockingly. Lin Lanjuan's gaze was cold. Before she could speak, Si Qingyan, who had been frozen for a long time, suddenly smiled. Then, professors, you must apologize to Dean Lin and admit your mistakes. What do you mean? A few professors turned around and pointed at Si Qingyan. The International Musicians Association has responded. All the professors should be paying attention to the International Musicians Association, right? Si Qingyan's tone was mocking. There was only one reason why these professors were so close to Qin Yojiao. They could get to know people from the International Musicians Association through Qin Yojiao and even have a chance to enter the International Musicians Association. At this moment, several professors immediately took out their phones. Just as they refreshed the homepage, they saw that the International Musicians Association was trending. He clicked on it. It was the statement issued by the International Musicians Association an hour ago. The expressions of the professors changed. What is this? Seeing their expressions, the principal and the others could not help but be curious and clicked on the trending topic. Chapter 1328. I can actually see the word explosive on the trending searches in my life? A young associate professor from the physics department could not help but sigh in shock. The top of the list regarding YN was still the dark red word, explosive. Hashtag Yuan borrows from herself hashtag Qin Yu Yuan hashtag 21-year-old chief musician of the International Musicians Association hashtag. The principal said in shock, not knowing the truth, the chief musician of the International Musicians Association is only 21 years old? Which country is she from? She's a real genius. With that said, the expressions of the professors from the music department turned even uglier. Is she from our country or our school? Si Qingyan said slowly. What? The principal asked, when did student Qin Yojiao become the chief? However, in the next second, the principal's shocked gaze landed on the screen and his breathing froze. Shocking. The chief musician of the International Musicians Association, Yuan, is actually the biological sister of the famous best actor Qin Yu. She's only 21 years old. Hashtag what kind of immortal female lead script is this hashtag? Throughout the entire article, this biological sister seemed exceptionally intelligent. At this moment, the people in the comments were in the same mood as everyone in the office. How can this be F** King slapped to the face? F** CK, no wonder I couldn't log in for an entire hour and a half. Did I see a photo on the trending searches in reality? F** CK? Yun is actually a real young lady? No way. Then, Yun's famous song was written by the real young lady when she was in her second year of high school? Goodbye, what kind of F** King news is this? Thank you for the invitation. I'm scolding again. My mother is already asking me why someone else is the chief musician in her second year of high school and can even be the top scholar of the college entrance examination, but I can't even wash my own clothes. Goodbye, this? Yun is Bae Yunch? After the principal asked, the entire place fell into dead silence. Why was this person's high school life so strange? Chief musician? First place in the Computing Institute competition? Top scholar of the college entrance examination? Lin Lanjun was even more confused. Who are you talking about? Director Lin, don't you know that your daughter is the chief musician of the International Musicians Association, YUN? The principal asked. Musician? Director Lin froze. What the hell is going on? After Qin Yojiao saw the trending searches, her body turned cold and she could not calm down. Her eyes were red and terrifying. Bae Yunch? How could this be? She had only seen Bae Yunch once in Country R, but she had been studying in the International Musicians Association for an entire year and had received everyone's approval. But why did Bae Yunch have to be YUN? Qin Yojiao's strong hatred surged out, but the comments below had already scolded her and Mrs. Qin badly. Qin Yojiao fans, hashtag youngest member of the International Musicians Association Qin Yojiao hashtag genius young pianist Qin Yojiao hashtag why aren't you spamming it? Weren't they having a lot of fun? Doghead. The real daughter of a rich family is so confident. One of them entered the International Musicians Association and started promoting herself as a genius piano girl. If it weren't for the fact that he was bitten back, he wouldn't have bothered to play with him. Don't you think that Madame Qin is the most cold-hearted person? Under such circumstances, he mistook his own daughter for someone else. Was this something a human would do? Vicious and stinky, old Madame Qin is a double-faced person. Back then they had already agreed to sever their relationship. In the end, when something happened to the real daughter, they immediately stepped on them. It's amazing that your biological mother has gone this far. After Qin Yojiao finished reading, she could not help but sweep the things on the table to the ground and scream crazily. Chapter 1329. Qin Yojiao took a few deep breaths and calmed down quickly before she picked up the phone on the sofa. A trace of menace flashed past her eyes as she gritted her teeth. Not long after, she updated her status. Qin Yojiao, I'm sorry. Mother and I didn't know about this at first. We acted on our own and thought that it was good for our family. I did see Ge-er at the International Musicians Association once, but because of some rumors that I didn't want to believe, I subconsciously denied the truth. I'm sorry everyone. Seeing that one of the female leads on the trending topic had spoken, many comments flooded in. Is this how you treat your family? Is this how you treat them? Hey, why are you acting pitiful? Why are you apologizing to us? At the same time, there were also sharp people who noticed that there was something wrong with Qin Yojiao's post. You've met in the International Musicians Association? Rumors and slander? What rumors did the International Musicians Association spread about the real young lady? Is there an end to this? Do you have to step on that elder young lady because you feel sorry for her? You look so ugly when you abuse others online. I have a feeling that there's something else behind this. How old was the real young lady at that time? Are you sure the real young lady wrote it herself? Because of Qin Yojiao's words, the public opinion actually went back a little. Qin Yojiao gritted her teeth and cold hatred shot out of her eyes. Taking a deep breath, she switched to her alternate account and found a marketing account with many fans to submit her post. A few minutes later. Exposing bot again today. I received a piece of news today. The president of the International Musicians Association, Du Xiao, appeared at the real young lady's birthday party in her second year of high school. Later, the real young lady successfully entered the International Musicians Association without any assessment. So the real young lady knew the president long ago? Rubbing chin. Seeing that there were new revelations in the public opinion, the netizens started to discuss cautiously. However, not long after, someone found out that President Du Xiao was indeed in the photos of Yu Manran attending the real young lady's banquet. So this rumor was true. So, the real young lady got in through connections? Could it be that Yun's score was written by someone else? Seeing these doubts, even Yun's fans started to suspect. They had never thought that Yun would be a girl in her early 20s. So, this matter became a trending topic again, but unexpectedly Yu Manran suddenly posted something. Yu Manran, I originally wanted to keep it as a souvenir video. It should be a behind-the-scenes clip from the recording studio, but it had never been released. A few seconds after the video started, everyone saw a girl wearing a black hat and a mask walk in. Then she unzipped her jacket and sat casually on the producer's sofa. Even his lazy posture revealed the aura of a big shot. However, everyone could tell that she was the real young miss. Teacher Pei, isn't Spring Night Banquet too difficult to sing? Yu Manran lay on his chair, looking like he wanted to cry but had no tears. The other party held a piece of paper in his hand. After asking a few questions, he wrote a simplified version with a pencil. When Yu Manran couldn't find the tune, Bei Yunj gently hummed a few lines. Very quickly Yu Manran sang a cappella. This was Yu Manran's version of Spring Night Banquet. In the behind-the-scenes clip, Yu Manran deliberately teased that person. Teacher Pei, why is this song called Backton Rose? Is it because I'm your little rose? That person rubbed the space between his eyebrows and suddenly laughed. So you tortured me for 3 days without finishing recording a song because I didn't pour water on your head? Yu Manran. Chapter 1330. At that time, although Bei Yunj said that she despised it, in order to win the Best Female Singer of the Year for Yu Manran, she had taken leave to stop the experiment and specially rushed to the recording studio. After watching the unreleased behind-the-scenes footage, Yu Manran's fans couldn't stop laughing. Ha ha ha, Sister Man also has a day when she shivers? Sister Man can't move for the first time, right? This behind-the-scenes footage matches the behind-the-scenes clothes that Man released for her fans. The real young lady also changed the sheet music on the spot. Do you still want to continue spreading rumors? That's right, this answer is F** King Yun herself. Who would forget Yun's obedient girls on the internet? +1. So who's the one behind this? Qin Youjiao obviously did not expect that in order to commemorate his career as a singer, Yu Manran had specially kept the recording studio recording of him discussing the arrangement with Bei Yunj. Following that, just as Qin Youjiao was gnashing her teeth in hatred and wanted to continue using her alternate account to submit the article, many people tagged her. She felt an inexplicable sense of fear. After a moment of hesitation, she clicked on it. Someone had exposed that Qin Youjiao and Fang Shiyun had plotted to frame Bei Yunj. Because the informant had collected too much evidence, other than the photos of the two of them meeting, there were also chat records of Fang Shiyun's team hiring fake reviewers to slander Bei Yunj. There was also a screenshot of Qin Youjiao transferring 20 million yuan to the paparazzi. This wave of action simply hammered Qin Youjiao and Fang Shiyun until they couldn't get up. F***ck. Isn't Qin Youjiao too disgusting? She's pretending to be a good person and apologizing to the real young lady while secretly plotting with Fang Shiyun to slander Bei Yunj? I'm having goosebumps all over. Is Qin Youjiao shameless? She's a fake, yet she still has to harm the real young lady? I'm even more curious why Qin Youjiao can take out 20 million yuan so easily without Mrs. Qin's approval? Then, before everyone could recover from their shock, something even more explosive was suddenly exposed. Previously, the marketing account that received the submission for the real heiress's birthday banquet was sued by Yu Manran's studio. Therefore, the account had to give up the submission account. However, she did not expect that when Yu Manran's studio announced the submission account and was about to sue, Qin Youjiao would actually point out that this was Qin Youjiao herself. This account was used by Qin Youjiao. If what I said is false, you are welcome to sue me. Thank you. What the heck? This person is so vicious. The Qin family was right to kick her out. Everyone I see along the way is going to take pity on the real young lady. What kind of dirty thing is targeting her? How can Qin Youjiao's fans still have the cheek to accuse others of bullying her online? Isn't she playing with public opinion and trying to bully the real daughter online? If Fang Shiyun isn't banned, then you guys are too useless. Grin, Qin Group. Things were different now. If it was before, Qin Youjiao's fans would still control the comments and the trending topics and forcefully cover the eyes of passers-by to clear Qin Youjiao's name. But now, Ever since Yun's fans found out that their Yun was the real young lady who had been abused hundreds of times by Jiao's fans, their anger had reached its peak. They suppressed all of Qin Yojiao's fan comments. Still calling herself the gentle Qin Yojiao? She's the most vicious fake young lady in the world. Grin? Family, if the fake young lady's fans can still control the trending topics now, then it's our Yun fans' fault. The most vicious Qin Yojiao is a fake young lady who cheats on her parents. Qin Yojiao. Chapter 1331. In the past few years, Qin Yojiao had relied on Qin Yu and Qin Lang's popularity, as well as her own genius pianist image to attract nearly 10 million fans. However, after this scolding battle, it was completely déjà vu of being attacked by Yun's fans. It was simply unbearable. At this moment, the storm in reality was no less than the one online. Qin Yojiao sat in the bedroom with a livid expression. Before she could react, she heard a commotion downstairs. "You can't do this, Lu Yan." Hearing Mrs. Qin's heart-wrenching voice, Qin Yojiao panicked inexplicably and immediately went downstairs to take a look. However, she did not expect to see a group of bodyguards rushing in and smashing all the furniture the moment she went downstairs. "What are you doing?" Qin Yojiao took a step back, but was grabbed by two bodyguards and dragged out. "Let go of me. What do you want?" Unknowingly, it was already raining outside. But very quickly, Qin Yojiao was still thrown out rudely. "Miss Qin, this is the Qin family's property. It's not a place you should stay," the bodyguard said ruthlessly. When Qin Yojiao got up from the ground in a sorry state, she was already drenched and her hair was stuck to her face. The moment she looked up, she saw the car door open and an indifferent and dignified man sitting inside. "Big brother." Qin Yojiao felt a chill run down her spine, but she had just called out when she met the man's cold eyes and shivered. This gaze was like he was looking at a dead person. However, before Qin Yojiao could regain her senses, everything in her bedroom had already been packed and thrown out. "Qin Yojiao, you don't have the right to stay here." The man took off his gold-rimmed glasses, his tone calm and slow. However, his refined and elegant eyes hid a hidden ruthlessness. "Qin Luyan, she's your younger sister. Must you be so ruthless?" Mrs. Qin's hand was held by the bodyguard and she could not break free, but she was still agitated. "Ating, go and persuade Lu Yan. If Jiao Jiao doesn't stay here, where can she stay?" At this moment, Qin Yojiao met Mr. Qin's gaze. Before she could cry and complain, she heard him ask, "Did you really do it?" Qin Yojiao froze. She knew very well what Mr. Qin was asking about. Mr. Qin closed his eyes. He didn't expect the obedient daughter he was so proud of to do such a thing. Where did the 20 million come from? Dad? Qin Yojiao's eyes darted around, her heart filled with panic and fear. She had never thought that she would be exposed one day. "Ating, what are you doing? Even if Jiao Jiao made a mistake, you can't." "Shut up." Father Qin turned around and roared. Mother Qin's face was full of disbelief and she broke down. "You want to chase Jiao Jiao out too? I won't allow it. Qin Ting, if you really want to chase Jiao Jiao out, we'll divorce." However, Mr. Qin ignored him and looked at Qin Luyan. "Luyan, your mother and I will go to our nation tonight. After that." Mr. Qin prepared to leave. Dad, I was wrong. I'll apologize to Bei Yunch. Please forgive me." Tears streamed down Qin Yojiao's face as she chased after her father, only to be pushed away mercilessly. "Do you really feel sorry for Guer?" Before Qin Yojiao could answer, Mr. Qin had already stopped looking at her and left resolutely. Seeing this, Qin Yojiao turned around and glanced at the luggage that had been thrown out of the villa. She ran towards Qin Luyan like a crazy person, grabbing his pants and begging, "Brother, please. I really know my mistake. I beg you to forgive me." Chapter 1332. Qin Yojiao's face was mixed with rain and tears. Although she was in a sorry state, she still looked beautiful. However, Qin Luyan's expression was expressionless. He only took out a man's blue handkerchief and slowly wiped the side of Qin Yojiao's face and neck. However, Qin Yojiao froze and felt a chill run down her spine. It was as if she was afraid that Qin Luyan would kill her. In the next second, the thought that was still circling in her mind really happened. Without waiting for Qin Yojiao to speak again, Qin Luyan's slender and good-looking hand grabbed her neck and slowly tightened. Qin Yojiao's eyes widened and her face flushed red, finding it difficult to breathe. "Big?" A trace of ruthlessness flashed past the man's dark brown eyes, seeming to be filled with murderous intent. Then he snorted and said coldly, "Qin Yojiao, do you want to die in my hands that much?" Qin Yojiao wanted to pry the man's hand away, but she had no strength. Just as she was about to faint, she heard Mrs. Qin roar in pain. "Qin Luyin, what are you doing? Stop right there. Do you really not want to see me doing well?" However, Qin Luyin was not Qin Yu and Qin Lang. He had always done things according to his wishes. "Okay. I promise you I'll go abroad tonight. I'll accept your arrangement. Let go of Jiao Jiao quickly. Let go of Jiao Jiao." Mrs. Qin was trembling all over as her sharp voice sounded. However, these words did save Qin Yojiao. Qin Luyin threw her to the ground as if she was a rag doll. From the beginning to the end, he only sat in the car and wiped his hands with a dry towel. It was as if he had just touched something dirty. "Mom, remember what you said today." The man looked up carelessly and said slowly, "As long as you secretly return to the country to see her once, I'll get someone to break one of her legs." Even Mother Qin shuddered when she heard this. She knew her eldest son's personality too well. He meant what he said. Qin Yojiao also heard Qin Luyin's words clearly. Then she heard him say slowly, "Scram. I'll kill you with my own hands before I do." Mrs. Qin was arranged to enter another car by the bodyguard. Qin Yojiao was cold and drenched as she walked on the road and watched the two cars drive away. She bit her pale lips and a trace of blood flowed out, her eyes filled with hatred. Not long after, Bei Yunji's face darkened when she found out that Director Lin was in the principal's office. She didn't expect to bump into Qin Jiai's mother on the way. Behind her were a few bodyguards who couldn't stop her. "Are you satisfied with this? Bei Yunji, you're here to collect the debt from the Qin family. You're sent by God to torture me?" Mrs. Qin said excitedly as she tried to grab Bei Yunji's hand. Bei Yunji didn't even look at her and pushed her away. Mrs. Qin accidentally fell to the ground. "I don't have time to watch you go crazy." However, Bei Yunji's tone was cold and impatient. For a moment, Mrs. Qin froze. She felt that Bei Yunji and Qin Luyin's gaze were exactly the same. The bodyguard looked at Bei Yunji's back as she left. He couldn't help but sigh and silently brought Qin Jiai's mother back. Yet, this matter had spread throughout the school, in the principal's office. The moment Bei Yunji entered, she saw Lin Lanjun sitting on the sofa. The principal was saying, "Don't worry, Director Lin. When you're not around, I'll definitely take good care of Yunji for you." "Where are you going?" After Bei Yunji pushed open the door, the first thing she asked was Lin Lanjun. "Yunji, your grandmother is..." Sensing the emotions in Bei Yunji's eyes, the principal fell silent. Chapter 1333. Along the way, Bei Yunji received a call from Zhong Xinglin and the others, telling her that it was Lin Lanjun who had asked for it. Grandma is also very concerned about the northern part of Continent K. My students were also exposed to the virus and died from it." Lin Lanjun stood up and held Bei Yunji's hand. She said softly, "These children don't have any experience in studying large-scale virus infections." Bei Yunji suddenly broke the silence. "You know that I don't want you to go." Lin Lanjun was stunned. She looked up and met Bei Yunji's beautiful eyes. They were clear and serious. The two of them had never been in such a deadlock before. The principal fell silent when he saw this scene. At Lin Lanjuan's age, as long as she went to the front line, the chances of her getting infected were much higher than others. However, Lin Lanjuan's achievements in this area were recognized even overseas. They were eager for Lin Lanjun to join the research organization. Bei Yunji licked her lips. Her voice was a little dry, and there was a pleading tone in her voice. "Grandma, can't you accompany me?" Her memory of this world was that in her previous life, Lin Lanjun had sacrificed herself for the country. The original owner of this body hid in her room and cried bitterly. Bei Yunji thought that she had stopped this from happening, but she found that the reality was not as she wished. Everyone has their own beliefs. What do we researchers believe in?" Lin Lanjun looked at her with a smile. Bei Yunji was silent for a long time. She let go of Lin Lanjuan's hand. "What else can I say after you put it that way?" The laboratory will take safety measures." The principal comforted her. Bei Yunji took a deep breath unconsciously. She couldn't suppress her frustration and nodded softly. She turned around and was about to leave. However, Lin Lanjun asked her anxiously and cautiously, "Will you send me off?" Bei Yunji stopped in her tracks. "Director Lin, will you still need someone to send you off when the time comes?" As soon as she finished speaking, the atmosphere was tense. Even the principal didn't expect to see Bei Yunji in a bad mood. And the target was Lin Lanjun. Lin Lanjuan's eyes also dimmed. She clasped her hands together stiffly, worried that Bei Yunji would really blame her. Outside the door, the person who had been cold and heartless just now was now squatting by the wall. A large hoodie covered his head and he looked very helpless. She rubbed her head in annoyance. Her slender wrist peeked out from the sleeves of her sweater. Her low and cold voice was filled with regret. What are you pretending for? Why are you throwing a tantrum at Madame Lin? If Huashidu had not come, he would not have thought that his little kid would be squatting by the wall and humiliating herself as if she had done something wrong. It was both funny and distressing. At this moment, the man who had just walked out of the principal's office couldn't help but smile as he watched Pei Qian perform the art of splitting himself. Although I was arrogant, it didn't stop me from scolding myself. Little friend, if you continue to scold me, Big Brother's heart will ache. Before Pei Yunj could react, she saw the man lean down carelessly and reach out to pull down her hat. Pei Yunj didn't expect that the man would see her doing such a degrading thing. But before she could look away, she found an excuse to change the topic. Suddenly she heard him chuckle very softly. It was as if he didn't need her to hide any emotions. He only said, "Awkward, my little girl?" Before she could react, the man had already squatted down. He suddenly pulled her hand, hugged her gently, and rubbed her head comfortingly. Chapter 1334. The rain and fog outside did not recede. In the dim corridor, the scene was gentle and reassuring. Pei Yunj retracted her gaze and slowly reached out to hug the man's waist. She rested her head on his neck and felt the cold but pleasant scent on his body. After a while, her voice was a little hoarse. "I lost my temper just now. You're even fiercer than when you scolded yourself just now?" The man chuckled and asked teasingly. "Pei Yunj, of course Director Lin knows. Our Yunyun is a good child." Washidu let go of her. His upturned eyes were gentle and seductive, but he only looked at the little girl's face and quietly accompanied her. In the corridor, it was as if there was no sound. At night, Pei Yunj looked at the glorious achievements of Lin Lanjun online and knew very well. In terms of scientific research beliefs, Lin Lanjun was the same as Meng Liang and Zhong Xinglin. Pei Yunj turned off the computer and closed her eyes. Sometimes fate was indeed very cunning. Actually, it knew very well that it could not reverse it. That was because these people with faith were unafraid of death. The next day, the sky was clear, and the news that Lin Lanjun had returned to her post and was preparing to go abroad for frontline research spread like wildfire. Many people and Lin Lanjun's old friends gathered in the sending-off area. "Lanjun, we're already so old, but you're still tormenting us." An old friend asked secretly, "I heard that your granddaughter doesn't plan to see you because of this?" Lin Lanjun laughed and said in a gentle but firm tone, "Guru will come. But it's almost time." Her old friend looked at her watch and said hesitantly. The younger generation did not understand why the older generation was willing to stand in this position for the rest of their lives, nor did they care. After all, this was because they had seen how a nation rose to prominence. There were many people sending them off. Lin Lanjun had a good temper and was willing to chat. But in the last 10 minutes she was ready to board the plane. Lin Lanjun scanned her surroundings. She did not see that familiar figure and her gaze dimmed. "Director Lin, are you waiting for someone?" Some reporters asked curiously. Lin Lanjun smiled. "It's nothing. I'm preparing to board the plane." "Director Lin, you have to take care of your health." The crowd and old friends said goodbye reluctantly. "I will." Lin Lanjun smiled. However, just as Lin Lanjun and the others were pushing their luggage away, a familiar voice suddenly sounded behind them. Lin Lanjun turned her head and saw someone not far away walking towards her with a bouquet of flowers. Lin Lanjun's eyes were hot, but she couldn't help but smile. The corners of Pei Yunj's lips curled up slightly as she tidied Lin Lanjun's gray hair. She laughed and passed a bouquet of flowers to Lin Lanjun. "Comrade Lin Lanjun, you've overcome the difficulties and returned triumphantly." Pei Yunj was no longer sloppy, which was uncharacteristic of her. She saluted Lin Lanjun properly. Seeing this, gradually people began to pay their respects. Then everyone sent them off with their eyes and saluted them. Conquering the difficulties of time and returning triumphantly. Looking at Pei Yunj, Lin Lanjun couldn't help wiping her tears, but she still smiled. "Okay, Grandma will come back." Pei Yunj sighed helplessly and took out a tissue to dry her tears. "There are so many people here. Don't cry, Grandma. Grandma is just happy." Lin Lanjun smiled through her tears. She walked forward and hugged Pei Yunj again. Only the two of them could hear her voice. The aspirations of a nation are passed down. Chapter 1335. Pei Yunj paused. She didn't know when Lin Lanjun found out about this. Then she slowed down and smiled. Okay. When she let go of him, a man in his 30s or 40s suddenly said, "Miss Pei." Bei Yunj turned around and heard him say, "Don't worry, I will take good care of Teacher Lin." Later. Bei Yunj then found out that this was He Jun, the heir of the He family who had stopped her from going. After Lin Lanjun volunteered to go to the front line, the He family was so happy that they wanted to burn incense. However, they did not expect He Jun's life idol to be Lin Lanjun. He even followed her to our nation without hesitation. After watching Lin Lanjun board the plane, the smile on Bei Yunj's face gradually faded. A reporter beside her said excitedly, "You're the eldest daughter of the Qin family? You're also Yun? Can I have an interview with you?" No. Bei Yunj pulled up her black mask and glanced at him indifferently before turning to leave. The reporter was speechless. Wasn't her change in attitude too fast? It even made people wonder if it was really raised by Dean Lin Lanjun. Why was there such a huge difference in personality? However, not long after, the news of Lin Lanjun going overseas became a trending topic, especially when the reporter reported that the person who was sending her off was the real young lady who had been the talk of the town recently. After everyone finished watching the video, their hearts were filled with emotions. Set your heart for heaven and earth, set your life for the people. Salute the researchers at the front line. She is the most ambitious and courageous. She will not give up on her youthful heart. Director Lin said that she will be loyal to the dreams of her youth for the rest of her life. Are the people in front all great writers? They have completely broken her defense. Looking at Yun and Director Lin's grandchild hugging, I really can't help but cry. The world is ours now, but it's still yours. The times are changing and the torch will be passed on forever. Yes, one is the past and the other is the future. I'm so envious of the child who was picked up by Director Lin. The real young lady is too open-minded. The real young lady can't even be bothered to respond online. She's busy passing on her mission. Hoshidu glanced at the comments online and thought for a moment before making another call. Not long after, Luosia's voice sounded. "What's the matter? What's the matter?" "Yes, I'll help." "I can't help you, brother. I'm too tired." Before Luosia could hang up, he heard the man on the other end of the phone say, "Isn't my girl your idol? Your idol's grandmother has gone to our nation's virus laboratory to study the infection in the northern part of the continent. You don't want to help?" Luosia, F***CK. This person was able to catch people's weaknesses accurately. Wait, is it Dean Lin Lanjun? Luosia had an impression of Lin Lanjun. He was a respected biologist. Yes. Luosia was silent for a moment before agreeing. "Master Du, I only agreed on account of my brother." Luosia had a hidden meaning. He wanted Hoshidu to bleed a little. "What does your laboratory lack? Send the list to Zhouyu." Hoshidu did not care much. "All right, that's straightforward." The next day, Bei Yunj found out that Mrs. Qin and Mr. Qin had left the country, but she didn't ask about it. However, everyone in Yun University already knew that Qin Yojiao had been expelled from the International Musicians Association. No one was surprised. After all, the person Qin Yojiao was scheming against this time was the chief musician of the International Musicians Association, Yun. How could the International Musicians Association tolerate her? Even Yun University had given Qin Yojiao a punishment. Chapter 1336. In the Principal's Office. Drop out? Why do you want to drop out? Bei Yunj had just finished talking to the form teacher about dropping out when she was pulled to the principal's office. The principal continued to persuade her earnestly, "Yunj, let's have a good talk. You're upset because Qin Yojiao hasn't been expelled, right? But she's currently staying in school as an auditing student for observation. After all, she has also been expelled from the International Musicians Association." Bei Yunj glanced at the nervous principal and form teacher and her eyelids twitched. "No, I don't have time to study anymore." Bei Yunj indeed had nothing better to do than to study in university. The principal was speechless. What was wrong? Was she being forced to inherit billions of assets? "Yunj, you have to think carefully. A university diploma might be useless to you, but university life is meaningful." The principal braced himself and said. This was the first time the principal of Yun University had said that their school's diploma was useless. If it was anyone else who wouldn't treat Yun University's diploma as a golden signboard. However, Bei Yunj's family did have a mine. She also had 3 older brothers who could provide for her for the rest of her life. In the end, under the principal's persuasion and concession, Bei Yunj did not succeed in dropping out of school. However, at the same time, the school gave Bei Yunj an ultimatum. She could not attend classes, but she had to pass the department's examination in the top 20. Otherwise she would have to repeat the year. This was a privilege, but not many people dared to take such a privilege. In country R, the scientific elites of biology, virology, and other scientific research from all over the world gathered and were brought into the laboratory building one by one. The surrounding aura was awe-inspiring and the reporters could not help but be excited. This was a group of big shots who lived in textbooks. It's Silver. Not long after, the reporters below took photos crazily. Looking at the woman in the khaki trench coat, they took photos crazily. However, the woman frowned coldly and left even faster. Silver is actually participating in the experimental research. This is a reassurance for everyone. A reporter from country R said proudly. This was their country's most promising virologist. However, not long after, another ordinary-looking car stopped at the gate, and a kind-looking elderly lady walked out of it. In the past 20 years, Lin Lanjun had never appeared, and there were only a few people who knew her. What's going on? Only 2 researchers from country A are here? The country R reporter began to stir up trouble as usual. Madam, may I know your name? Why are you qualified to participate in this experiment? Lin Lanjun was not angry at all. Instead, she smiled and said, I just have some experience. Listen to Yen. Before the reporters could mock her, Lin Lanjun had already entered the laboratory. He Jun, who was following behind Lin Lanjun, glanced at the reporter with an unpleasant expression. If you really don't know her, then please remember that without Madame Lin Lanjun, the current population of country R would be reduced by at least 1/3. After saying this, after He Jun left, the others suddenly remembered. It's President Lin Lanjun. Another country R reporter was shocked. 20 years ago, Director Lin was the first to successfully produce the antibody reagent in the virus infection experiment. This is the first female winner of the Jane's Biology Prize. Even Director Lin is here. Then the situation in the north is saved. The crowd was suddenly in an uproar. They took pictures of Lin Lanjun's back like crazy, making the reporter who spoke without thinking just now blush in shame. Chapter 1337. In the evening, experts from the Our Nation's Virus Research Laboratory were having a meeting. What is the meaning of this? Do you think that this research needs someone who has retired for more than 20 years? The person who spoke was Silver, who had just put on a khaki coat. She was in her 40s, but she was beautiful. She was the winner of this year's Jane's Biology Prize, and the second female winner after Lin Lanjun. Everyone was silent. This was a fight between the old gods and the new gods. Many experts did not say anything, but their eyes were burning with gossip. Fight, fight. Silver, we don't have much time. I don't want everyone to spend their energy on such boring things. One of the experts reminded the others. Yes, our mission is more important. Someone agreed. They had a meeting as soon as they arrived. Wasn't it to save every minute and second? Of course I know about the mission, but a good team leader can show everyone's true efficiency, Silver said coldly. Silver's colleagues were silent. They knew why she was so against Lin Lanjun. In the 20 years since Lin Lanjun left, the field of biology had been criticized for not having a successor after Lin Lanjun. No matter how well Silver did, there were people who said that it would be great if Lin Lanjun was still here. The conference will be held in half a month. Why don't we split up to collect virus data first, share the data and help each other, then decide on the direction? Lin Lanjun did not care about this. She just wanted to solve this problem as soon as possible. When Silver heard Lin Lanjun's words, she turned and left with a cold face. The scene was awkward. After the meeting, Lin Lanjun had already started to arrange the tasks for the experiment with He Jun and the others. The experimental virus will be delivered soon. I hope everyone will be careful when you work. Lin Lanjun looked at the researchers who were younger than her and could not help but smile. It's good to be young. You all look so energetic. Dean Lin, didn't you major in molecular biology and systems biology? A young man asked curiously. Lin Lanjun replied, biology and medicine are similar in many fields. When I was undergrad, the tuition was too expensive for me. I wanted to learn more to save money, so I minored in respiratory diseases and entered the only virus laboratory in the country. Everyone, no wonder it was said that after Lin Lanjun, there would be no successor to biology. She was indeed a god. Shen Yuan made a rare phone call to Bei Yunj. I have a lot of news about Director Lin recently. Do you want to hear it? If you're very free, you can find a class. There was no change in Bei Yunj's eyes. She just lowered her head and continued to analyze the experiment. Xian Yuan wants to curse in his heart, but he still takes a deep breath. Director Lin can confirm the mutated disease in 7 days. It is indeed a great thing that a country can invite Director Lin back. But Bei Yunj didn't say anything, but she stopped the experiment in her hands. Director Lin needs the support of medical equipment. At present, our nation's expert team has already cured a case with the most advanced medical equipment. Bei Yunj, without reagents, it's stupid to rely on machines to cure him. But without the equipment, it will be even more difficult for Academy Head Lin to progress. It will be too difficult for her. Xian Yuan's eyes darkened. Max, do you think the situation in the north is a natural disaster or man-made? If it was man-made, Dean Lin would be their #1 enemy. Chapter 1338. During this period of time, the international side had not been peaceful. Because a few researchers had unfortunately died and gone missing, the news had spread throughout the scientific research circle. At this critical juncture, the experts who dared to participate in this experiment were courageous. Got it? Bei Yunj hung up. But not long after. Bei Yunj made a call and twirled the pencil in her hand. Shang Yin, I heard that the international expert team for the virus experiment in northern continent K seems to lack medical equipment? Shang Yin chuckled and pretended not to know what she meant. Yes, Missy. Do you want to help them? Bei Yunj nodded. Okay. Give me the latest news and arrange for a few people to contact me. After all, the top elites of the various countries were gathered together. The progress of the expert team was very fast. After this week's meeting and the report, everyone was still very impressed by Lin Lanjun's research progress. It had to be said that Lin Lanjun was indeed unparalleled in this aspect. In 7 days they could confirm the mutation of the disease strain and conduct reagent experiments. How's the recruitment situation? Lin Lanjun asked. At the moment there are many technology companies contacting us, but we used to have you in the seniors. There are no large infectious viruses in the country, so very few people meet our recruitment criteria. There was no demand in the market, so there were very few companies in this area. Unlike in our nation, silver had been the focus of their nurturing over the years. They wanted to use money to create a second Lin Lanjun. Therefore, the experimental equipment could be said to be the most advanced batch in the world. Seeing that everyone else was a little anxious, Lin Lanjun smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. The medical institute is also arranging the supplies." They didn't have many patients here, so the first batch of equipment and supplies was sent to the laboratory at the headquarters in Continent K. The second batch of supplies would arrive in about a week. During this period of time, in China. In the laboratory, Bei Yunj was also researching and developing day and night. Are you crazy? The moment Si Qingyan opened the door, he realized that Bei Yunj was still inside. He was shocked. How long have you been sleeping? Almost 3 hours. Bei Yunj said indifferently, "Come and help." Bei Yunj, are you preparing to die young? Aren't you afraid of dying first with such a high-intensity experiment? Bei Yunj did not even look up. I can't sleep. Her sleep quality was poor. At this juncture he didn't want to waste any more time. Seeing that the research and development was progressing so quickly, Si Qingyan was silent for a moment. He sighed and walked over to help. They were preparing for the press conference half a month later. Why should we listen to Lin Lanjun's arrangements? I don't agree. Silver's face was cold and he laughed sarcastically. I've already had 10 cases in my possession. Not only did Lin Lanjun have no strong support, but she also didn't have any cases that could be cured. Aren't they all using instruments to keep the patients alive? After saying this, the others were speechless. Silver's equipment from our nation was, of course, the most advanced. The machine she used to treat patients cost 300,000 coins a day. However, this kind of machine was not available on the market, and the speed of treatment could not keep up with the patient's death rate. Lin Lanjun's reagent was already in the experimental stage. It was estimated that all major hospitals would be able to use it soon. After some debate, everyone decided to appoint Lin Lanjun as the leader of the team. There were also people who reminded Lin Lanjun to be careful of Silver's press conference. After all, this press conference was broadcasted live on foreign networks and could be watched by all countries. Chapter 1339. When will the supplies arrive? Lin Lanjun was communicating with the local medical institute. The head of the medical institute said, 2 days later. Lanjun, can you handle it? I'm fine. Lin Lanjun smiled. Do as you see fit. But after hanging up, Lin Lanjun suddenly received another call. She looked serious and immediately went to the sterile laboratory. No, we have to do the surgery immediately. Lin Lanjun made up her mind and quickly picked up the reagent from the table. No. Director Lin, this reagent hasn't been tested yet. The current test results are too strong. After He Jun finished speaking, Lin Lanjun had already pulled out the needle. If we don't do the surgery now, she will lose her life. Hearing that, He Jun didn't have time to hesitate and could only assist Lin Lanjun in the surgery immediately. Actually, he was afraid that the news of Lin Lanjun using the reagent on the patient would be maliciously misinterpreted as it was nearing the conference. If something happened, not only would Lin Lanjun's reputation be tarnished for the rest of her life, but it was also very likely that people would spread rumors that Country A's expert team used untested reagents to conduct human experiments and didn't take human life seriously. But fortunately, after 3 hours, the patient was saved. Higgins Group. Boss. Nieyu handed the contract to Bei Yunj. The equipment has been tested and we are rushing to produce it in batches. Currently, 2 sets have been sent to the expert team. Bei Yunj nodded lightly and flipped through the contract again. Nieyu immediately explained, the expert team wants to sign a contract with our company, but President Shang wants you to sign it as a technician. If her identity as the owner of Higgins Group was exposed, there would be a lot of bloodshed, so all this time she had 2 identities in Higgins Group. The highest decision maker, Bei Yunj. The expert in the technical core group, V. Shang Yin had originally hoped that she could have a proper name, but Bei Yunj only wanted to save trouble. Got it. Please thank President Shang for me. Bei Yunj hummed in response and signed the contract quickly. Our nation. The expert team's conference was broadcasted live and it even topped the trending searches in China. Everyone in the continent was paying attention to the situation in the north. When people who had only appeared in textbooks finally appeared in front of the public, everyone inexplicably felt a sense of trust and peace of mind. These were people who were at the forefront of human history and had made great contributions to society. They were also beliefs. 555 Lin looks so gentle. This is the real boss. The auras of the researchers are so strong. Lin Lanjun, Silver, Michael. They're all winners of the Janes Prize in Biology. It's the highest honor I'll ever receive in my life. After the live broadcast began, the reporter conducted an interview with the expert team as usual and especially praised the medical skills of Country R. Next. Changing the topic, he asked, Madam Lin Lanjun, I heard that your team hasn't received any medical equipment from the country yet. Is that true? F***CK, this reporter is still causing trouble at a time like this? I don't understand foreign languages. They said our country didn't send any equipment to Dean Lin. It's normal for reporters to be curious, but I don't know who spread the news. 3 days ago we received the supplies from the country. Lin Lanjun smiled faintly. Because we think that the northern region will need the first batch of supplies more than us. Face slapping. Face slapping. Director Lin is being patriotic. Our friends in country have been poaching Director Lin for decades. How can they not know? Chapter 1340. You're right. We're more concerned about our friends in the north. After the reporter fell silent, another person began to ask, Madam Lin Lanjun, you and Ms. Silver should be legends in the industry. But you've been retired for more than 20 years, and you're the leader of the expert team as soon as you return. Do you have any other advantages? These words were pointing directly at Lin Lanjun's nose, saying that she was taking advantage of her seniority to seize power. The other reporters' questions swarmed in, and the international audience heard them clearly. Madam Lin Lanjun, I admit that you've contributed to many countries, but our nation is still better in terms of technology in this area. May I ask, do you really think that the equipment sent by a nation is comparable to the top equipment built by Silver's laboratory with tens of millions of dollars? That's right. We're very curious if there are any companies in a nation that are assisting Madam Lin Lanjun's expert team. These reporters were obviously prepared. They interrogated Lin Lanjun one by one. They were trying to get Lin Lanjun to step down. Especially at this time, a male reporter with a beer belly laughed disdainfully. Madam Lin Lanjun, you're already the glory of the past. I admit that a nation developed very quickly with you around, and no one could beat you in this field. But now it's not 20 years ago. What can you use to guarantee the lives of the people in the north? A team that can't even find a technology company to cooperate with is worthy of our trust? Your country's scientific research has always been questionable. Hearing this reporter's deliberate provocation, the international live broadcast was in a mess. Ingrates are such people. Didn't Director Lin help them? Doubting our country's scientific research and targeting us all the time? Are they really not afraid that we'll overtake them? That dog is taking revenge. Who asked Director Lin to refuse to develop in our nation? Are the people in a nation delusional? Isn't it normal to ask this person to step down? Silver should be the real leader. The people in a nation are the ones who feel inferior. They think that their country is so powerful just because they have Lin Lanjun. How did a good press conference turn out like this? After a discussion, everyone agreed that it was better to let Silver be the leader of the expert team. Silver's lips curled up, but he was proud. Director Lin, I'm sorry for taking your previous position. Lin Lanjun didn't care. However, just as Silver was about to stand up and speak on behalf of the expert team, someone rushed in from outside the door. He handed a folder to Lin Lanjun. Director Lin, please sign for this personally. Hearing this, Lin Lanjun was puzzled, but she opened the folder and found that it was a contract for cooperation between enterprises. Higgins Group has specially applied to the state to assist Lin Lanjun's team in the experimental project. Hope for approval. Company manager. At the same time, the expert team members also received a change in their computer. Lin Lanjun's team's information had been changed. The partner that originally filled in the form of temporarily unavailable suddenly changed. Team leader, Lin Lanjun nationality, a country cooperative enterprise, Higgins Group person in charge, it's Higgins? Everyone's expression changed. They didn't expect such a reversal. That year, Higgins had almost returned to his former glory days, causing turmoil in the industry. Everyone was curious. Where did Higgins's godly skill come from? Chapter 1341. Director Lin, do you know anyone from Higgins? They couldn't help but ask. The senior management of Higgins Group was a mystery, especially the person in charge in the technical core Ever since Higgins Group reappeared in the public eye, well-known laboratories had been inviting them to collaborate. However, the other party's attitude had always been cold and unfathomable. Higgins? Lin Lanjun shook her head. I only know that the founder of this group is an amazing researcher. Then how did Higgins reach an agreement with your team? Before the person could finish, Jun hurried over and whispered to Lin Lanjun, Director Lin, the materials sent by Higgins have arrived. It's 2 sets of medical equipment. Medical equipment? Lin Lanjun was stunned. At the same time, when the others heard Silver's speech on stage, they suddenly snapped back to reality and felt a chill run down their spine. They didn't believe that Higgins would help Lin Lanjun for no reason. Lin Lanjun must know someone from Higgins Group. If she could even invite there was a high probability that she was from Higgins Group. Thinking of this, the other members of the expert team couldn't help but stiffen. They suspected that the big boss of Higgins Group was also watching the live broadcast. So, the one who will lead us to overcome this obstacle is Miss Silver? The reporter was already asking. Silver smiled, her eyes were filled with pride. Everyone is doing this for the people of the North. It doesn't matter who leads us. However, I am confident that I can solve the current problem. Someone changed the topic and led the conversation to Lin Lanjun. It's a pity that Director Lin has been retired for so many years. I didn't expect that the moment she returned, everyone's attention would be on someone else. Does Director Lin mind this change? After leaving the academic circle for more than 20 years, you suddenly became isolated and helpless. You can't even find a partner company. Does Director Lin regret it? The reporters were aggressive and the Chinese netizens in the live broadcast room were furious. Obviously, these reporters were deliberately trying to embarrass Lin Lanjun in order to write a few big news stories. Silver suppressed the smile on her face and said slowly, even though Director Lin has been away for 20 years, she should still be respected by everyone. Before she could finish, Jun suddenly interrupted everyone else. Thank you for your attention to the expert team from Country A. I understand your curiosity about our partner company, but this is an international expert team's press conference. If you're curious, you can find out more about the company in private. You have a business partnership? The reporter subconsciously blurted out in disbelief, but when he came back to his senses, he laughed out loud. Is that so? Since that's the case, why don't you tell everyone which technology company it is? After saying this, suddenly, there was an uproar below the stage as if something big had happened. At this time, even the camera in the live broadcast room turned and focused on a man in a wheelchair. The man's dark brows and eyes were extremely good-looking. His temperament was gentle and elegant. The corners of his mouth were always smiling, and his suit was unforgettable. President Shang is actually here? The others exclaimed. Damn, this man is so handsome. Who is this? Why is he at the press conference? Let me explain to everyone. The business genius elite Shang Yan, one of the people in charge of Higgins Group. Chapter 1342. The commenter above is right. CEO Shang is really hard to calm down in the economic circle. He used to be such a high-spirited person, but after the car accident a few years ago, he had been in hiding. I didn't expect to see him again. However, Shang Yan's temperament is becoming more and more fascinating. The charm and elegance of a mature man. Something's wrong with me? Help, I'm willing to be my brother's wheelchair. One of the people in charge of Higgins? What does that mean? It means that Shang Yan is Higgins's second boss. The big boss has never been exposed. CEO Shang, may I know what opportunity led you to come here personally? The reporters present were excited. Shang Yan had never been interviewed by the media, but they were able to take photos of Shang Yan today. This was big news. The company is cooperating, so I specially came to take a look. Shang Yan curled his lips and added unhurriedly, the mission given by the boss. Cooperation? Which team is Higgins working with? The reporter froze. How could a leading company like Higgins come to curry favor with a cooperation team? Everyone was confused. After all, they thought that the person most suitable to be Higgins' partner was Silver. However, Silver had already announced that the partner was the Mondo Group, a technology company backed by the Delaney Group. Madame Lin Lanjuan's team. Shang Yan nodded and smiled at Lin Lanjun as a polite greeting. Everyone at the scene was stunned. Didn't they say that Lin Lanjun was isolated and couldn't find a cooperative company? What was going on with CEO Higgins, who had delivered himself to her? So, if you have any interviews with Higgins, you can ask me directly. I'm afraid Madame Lin Lanjun doesn't have that much time for everyone. Shang Yan's casual words sent chills down the spines of the reporters present. This was obviously a warning. Compared to the researchers who were focused on experiments, Shang Yan, who could stir up a storm in the business world, was someone who could not be offended. The reporters also knew to restrain themselves and carefully asked with smiles, then, who will Higgins Corporation be cooperating with this time? Currently, the technical department VE has agreed to cooperate and has sent the newly developed medical equipment to Director Lin's laboratory. These words turned the calm situation into a storm. The reporters' smiles froze. Hearing this answer, they felt as if they had been slapped a few times. Oh my God! It's actually V. However, the crowd was already boiling with excitement. How was Principal Lin isolated and helpless? This was simply a return with a cheat. Everyone in the high-tech industry knew that VE from the core team of Higgins' technical department was a patent tycoon. It was said that the sales of Higgins' high-end technology products had increased by more than 10 times. So, Mr. Shang, are you saying that Big Boss was the one who facilitated this collaboration? Shang Yan curled his lips and glanced at Silver indifferently. Other than her, is there anyone else who can make me work? As soon as he finished speaking, inexplicably, the people in the live stream exploded. His tone is killing me. I'm sorry? Is this the love of a capitalist? Wait, I remember. Big Boss Higgins is a woman. Is this the redemption story of a business tycoon coming into reality? Due to Shang Yan's sudden appearance, this press conference was trending in various regions. Chapter 1343. Everyone's attention on Lin Lanjun had reached an unprecedented climax. Many people even supported Lin Lanjun as the leader of the international expert team. In the virus laboratory, Director Lin, the two machines sent by Higgins are even better than the ones from Silver next door. They have an outstanding effect on the detection and oxygen supply of patients. A few members were so excited that they were almost incoherent. Most importantly, this efficient machine had very little consumables, unlike the machine in Silver's laboratory that cost more than 300,000 yuan a day. How can the company next door compare to the things developed by VE? Jun snorted. Mondo Technology's biggest capital was the Delaney Group. The reason why Delaney and Higgins could become top scientific research companies was because one had, and the other had VE. Why do the big shots like to use strange letters these days? The member muttered. Why do you care about this? Don't you want to hear something fun? Let me tell you, the atmosphere at Silver next door is terrifying. I heard that the expert team has unanimously defected and hopes that Director Lin will take charge of the overall situation. What? Why else? They're just afraid of Higgins. A month passed. The severity of the infection in the northern part of continent K had obviously decreased. The people of various countries were glad about this. In a certain border area of continent K, the mortality rate has been reduced by 75%? The man behind the bed curtains laughed. Should I say that those researchers are more capable, or are you more capable? The person who was asked trembled and immediately knelt down. Master, the leader of the expert team this time is Lin Lanjun, the woman who is best at biology and virology in country A. In her hands she has solved the virus problem of 3 fatal infections. And because of her, Higgins is also doing his best to assist the international expert team. Hearing this, the man on the bed walked out at this moment, but he kicked the person who spoke to the ground. His tone was cold. Trash. You still have the cheek to say that? You can't even handle such a small matter. Where's the data, the human infection data? That person hurriedly got up and knelt down, not daring to look at the man with a dark expression. The data. According to our spy, after Lin Lanjuan's suggestion, the data is stored in the Our Nation's Computing Institute. In order to get more insider information, they had a spy in the expert team. Originally, they thought that Silver would definitely become the team leader, but they did not expect that Lin Lanjun would appear out of nowhere and completely mess up their plans. Lin Lanjun again. That person's eyes were cold. After he finished speaking, he glanced at the people kneeling on the ground and said indifferently, "Get up and speak." The man who was kneeling on the ground trembled as he stood up. He couldn't help but look at the man who had almost killed him. The man looked to be in his 20s or 30s. His skin was fair and delicate, and he had a pair of cold almond-shaped eyes. What left a deep impression on people was his kasaya and the 9 scars on his smooth and clean head. He casually tugged at his collar, not caring about the firm and sexy lines of his muscles that were half exposed. He sipped his tea and asked, "Have you checked Lin Lanjuan's information?" Lin Lanjun is just like the traditional researchers in a country. She is even more diligent and thrifty. But she has a son and a grandson. Her son was her biological son, but he was a hooligan and wasn't close to Lin Lanjun. Her granddaughter was picked up from the streets, but I heard that she's Lin Lanjuan's flesh and blood. This is Lin Lanjuan's weakness, the man said carefully. Interesting. Qi Wuxiu curled his lips and placed the teacup on the table. It will be a little troublesome for us to deal with the matters in a country. Go and release the people in the dungeon. Chapter 1344. Not long after, a drenched man was carried over and casually thrown to the ground. The man looked up weakly. His eyes were stung by the strong light. "Roland, you haven't seen the sun for a long time, right? Help me do something and I'll give you your freedom." Qi Wuxiu curled his lips and said unhurriedly. The man who was fished out of the dungeon said hoarsely, "What do you want me to do?" He had been locked up in the dungeon for more than 10 years and couldn't help but be afraid of this person. Qi Wuxiu was a lunatic, but it seemed that the heavens turned a blind eye to him. He was already in his 40s, but he looked like he was in his 20s or 30s. "Go to Yun City and find a person called Bei Yunj." Qi Wuxiu gave him the photo and squatted down in front of him. "Find a way to get close to her. I'll give you a mission later. After that, we'll go our separate ways." "Qi Wuxiu, how can I trust you?" He gritted his teeth and questioned. This lunatic never played by the rules. He used to be a respected monk, but he suddenly burned all the monks in the temple to death overnight and embarked on the path of a terrorist organization. "It's up to you whether you want to leave or not. But if you leave and don't work for me..." There was no warmth in Qi Wuxiu's eyes. He smiled and said, "Roland, if your son finds out that you have something to do with his mother's death, do you think he'll let you go?" "You." The middle-aged man flew into a rage out of humiliation. Soon he could only take a deep breath and gritted his teeth. "Qi Wuxiu, you better keep your word." He shouldn't have listened to Qi Wuxiu and seduced Huijing. In the beginning, Qi Wuxiu wanted to get close to Huijing himself, but he didn't expect Huijing to only like looks and take a fancy to Roland who was passing by. After all, although Roland's aptitude was average at that time, his face was impeccably handsome. Therefore, Roland was encouraged by Qi Wuxiu to cooperate and took the initiative to pursue Huijing. He quickly coaxed Huijing into marrying him. He also completed Qi Wuxiu's final goal, killing Huijing and seizing Huijing's human data research manuscript. But at that time, it was true that Qi Wuxiu wasn't the only one who had designs on Huijing. It was just that Qi Wuxiu was smart enough to control the situation behind the scenes. Huijing became famous at a young age and was a true genius in scientific research. However, she did not hide her talent, which attracted too much attention and covetous eyes. after the man in the dungeon left. The subordinate couldn't help but ask, "Master, can Roland Fernandes be trusted? What are you afraid of? Isn't there still Ji Linling?" Chi Wuxia sneered and glanced at his subordinate. "You overestimate Roland's ability. Whole corporation." The man had just finished a meeting and returned to his office, but he did not expect to see a person lying on the black leather sofa. The girl leaned casually on the sofa. Her black hair was scattered and there was a faint layer of dark circles under her eyes. She looked very tired. Huashidu raised the temperature in the room and covered Bei Yunj with a thin blanket. The next moment, someone grabbed the inside of his suit jacket. The man placed one hand on her waist, and his pale eyes met the little girl's provocative gaze. But what she didn't have experience with was that such a gaze could easily evoke the bad side of a man. "Brother, do you really think I'm here to sleep?" Bei Yunj's eyes were fixed on him as she fearlessly leaned forward and sniffed the faint cold fragrance on the man's neck. She instantly felt much better. Chapter 1345. Bei Yunj did not notice that the man's eyes had darkened. She was just happy that she could have a good night's sleep tonight. "Does it smell good?" The man's voice suddenly sounded. Bei Yunj nodded subconsciously. Before she could say anything, she heard the man's low laughter and joy. "Yunyan, take off my glasses for me," the man said patiently, his fingers caressing the back of her fair neck casually. It was as if he was treating a prey that was within his reach or a precious treasure. Bei Yunj's brain heated up. For some reason, she subconsciously reached out to take off the man's gold-rimmed glasses on the bridge of his nose. However, at this moment she realized that the two of them were very close to each other, and this posture was more like Huashidu was hugging her. It made her heart throb for some reason. Then she looked up and met the man's dark eyes. Bei Yunj froze again. After the man observed it, he let go of her hand. "You're so useless." Huashidu seemed to be sighing, and his casual voice fell into Bei Yunj's ears. "Bei Yunj, she was very strong, okay?" Belatedly, Bei Yunj suddenly remembered that Huashidu wanted to. Her eyes flickered. Huashidu was still supporting his head with one hand. His posture was frivolous and casual, but his pale-colored peach blossom eyes were blatantly seductive. He even rubbed his knuckles against her cheek gently. The man continued to tease her and asked, "Why? Are you not convinced?" It was clearly a casual action, but it was so ambiguous. He was not in a hurry, afraid that he would really scare her. "All right, go to sleep." Before Huashidu could take out the cigarette in the cigarette box, he was suddenly hugged from the side. Bei Yunj placed one hand on the man's broad shoulder and gently rested her chin on his forearm. She blew into the man's ear. "How are you going to sleep alone, brother?" The unsuspecting man's eyes suddenly darkened, and he even stopped taking out his cigarette. Bei Yunj raised her eyebrows and smiled beside the man's ear. She couldn't help but reach out to touch the mole on the man's Adam's apple. He was still as lawless as ever. At the next moment, Sang Su, who had barged into the room, witnessed this scene. His body stiffened and he paused mid-sentence. "Master Du, I just received news that someone has found." Only then did Huashidu grab her mischievous hand and remove it. He glanced at her and asked, "Are you asking for a beating?" "Bei Yunj, did this dog man learn how to change his face?" After Huashidu pinched his face gently, Pei Chen settled down. "Master Du, Zhou Yu is waiting for you at the hospital," Sang Su said carefully. "Yes." It was not hard to tell that Huashidu's voice was slightly hoarse. Sang Su couldn't help but recall the scene just now. Miss Pei was just like an evil spirit who pulled a deity down from the altar. Just as Sang Su was worried that his Master Du would be skinned alive by Bei Yunj, his eyes met with Bei Yunj's half-smile. He almost forgot that he had interrupted Miss Pei's happy occasion just now, as expected. Bei Yunj asked curiously, "Assistant Sung, you appear at such an important moment. Are you a piece of equipment?" Sang Su looked at Huashidu for help. However, Huashidu turned a blind eye to it and allowed his child to bully others. Sang Su, forget it. There was no need for him to ask for something impossible. A few days ago, when Sang Su went to deliver the documents, he saw Miss Pei sitting on the sink so sleepy that she could not even open her eyes. However, his Master Du patiently coaxed her to open her mouth and even helped Miss Pei brush her teeth. He knew then that his Master Du was completely hopeless. However, when Miss Pei woke up the next day, she seemed to have forgotten about this matter. Master Du, on the other hand, enjoyed it. Bei Yunj stood up and walked into the lounge. He even glanced at Huashidu intentionally and said lightly, "Scumbag. Sang Su, put on your shoes." After the man finished speaking, Bei Yunj put on his shoes again and entered the lounge. He even heard the sound of the door being locked. Tseng Su, Miss Pei is really becoming more and more casual. Impatient little kid. Huashidu curled his lips. He knew very well that Bei Yunj had come to look for him as soon as she was done with her work. Tseng Su, why do you still have an expression of, my little kid is so cute? On the way to the hospital, Huashidu already knew about the matter, but he did not say a word. Tseng Su also felt that the atmosphere in the car was oppressive. Huashidu's father had been found, but he was currently in the hospital for treatment. Zhou was the first to call Huashidu. Does the old master know about this? Huashidu asked. Tseng Su, the old master has been looking for him for so many years. He probably has already received the news. Huashidu snorted. He has a long life. As soon as he finished speaking, Tseng Su did not dare to reply. Perhaps it was normal for father and son from other prestigious families to not get along, but the relationship between Huashidu and that person had already reached a tense stage. Huashidu had never been controlled by this father in name since he was young. Her father had even been caught red-handed in bed by Huajing himself. After Huajing's death, Huashidu's father disappeared as if he had vanished from the face of the earth. He did not expect that he would suddenly be found today. The old master will be here in the next few days. You guys deal with him. After Huashidu got out of the car, he only said this before walking into the hospital. In the ward, Huashidu looked at the man in front of him who looked a little similar to him but was unbelievably old. There was no emotion in his eyes. When will he wake up? He asked. The attending doctor said, Mr. Tang will wake up in the next 2 days. Although Huashidu's father was from a top-notch prestigious family, he was of mixed blood from another family. He was sent back to the Fernan's family when he was 9 years old. His name was Tang Boyang. However, Old Master Fernan's doted on this son the most because he was born from the woman Old Master Fernan's loved the most in his life. Zhou, come out with me. Huashidu walked to the long corridor and glanced at him. Who kidnapped him? It should be an organization from Continent K. When I brought people to fight, the other party didn't seem to want to hurt. Mr. Tang, Zhou said. If the other party didn't do it on purpose, would Tang Boyang have been able to escape? Huashidu sneered casually. But Mr. Tang has many injuries on his body. He seems to have been locked up for more than 10 years. Zhou said carefully. When he wakes up, get someone to follow him. Yes. At night. Tang Boyang touched the sutured wound and frowned in pain. However, he did not expect to see a beautiful girl when he looked up. Was this the person Chi Wuxia asked him to find? A dark look flashed across Tang Boyang's eyes and he asked hoarsely, Who are you? Only then did Bei Yunj stop reading the documents. However, before she could speak, a voice came from outside the door. You're awake? Chapter 1346. Shidu. The moment he saw Huashidu, Tang Boyang's eyes turned red and his voice trembled. It's been so long since we last met. I didn't expect you to be alive. The man's casual words broke the atmosphere of the reunion after a long separation. Bei Yunj looked at him subconsciously. This was the first time she saw her brother treat his elders like this. Shidu, I was wrong in the past. I just didn't know how to face your mother back then. I didn't. Before Tang Boyang could cry, he heard Huashidu say casually, Is that so? If you really feel so apologetic towards her, I'll get someone to send you to the cemetery later. You can have a good chat. Instantly, Tang Boyang stiffened. At this moment, it was already dark outside. Furthermore, Tang Boyang felt guilty. How could he dare to face Huajing's tombstone? Bei Yunj looked at the scene thoughtfully and could roughly guess the reason. At this moment, Tang Boyang's gaze also landed on Bei Yunj. A strange look flashed past his eyes. This is, Mr. Tang, my name is Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj was unusually distant. This form of address made Tang Boyang's expression stiffen. He was very dissatisfied with Bei Yunj. Forget about Shidu. After all, he was his son. But what about this silly girl? How could she treat him like this? However, what Tang Boyang did not expect was that Shidu was unusually close to Bei Yunj. Let Tseng Su send you home to rest first? Huashidu rubbed Bei Yunj's head. Bei Yunj thought for a moment. All right. Soon. After the two of them left, Tang Boyang immediately got out of bed and made a call. Chiwushio. I saw Bei Yunj. Huashidu returned after about 10 minutes. Tang Boyang was already lying on the bed again, looking like a loving father. Shidu, have you been well all these years? Do you think I'm here to reminisce? Huashidu raised his thin eyelids. Shidu, you can blame me, But there are no parents in the world who don't love their children, Tang Boyang said emotionally. Huashidu took out a cigarette box from his pocket and casually lit a cigarette. He did not care that this was a ward. Tang Boyang quickly stopped talking. He had also sensed that Huashidu's personality was not like Huajing's, nor was it like his. He could not guess the person in front of him at all. He changed the topic. Shidu, how long has that little girl been with you? Tang Boyang used the tone of an experienced person and casually instructed, men can be played with or raised outside, but don't put too much effort into it. After all, Bei Yunj was indeed impeccably beautiful. Who knew? Huashidu asked calmly. Why? You're living like this and you want to impart your life experience to me? This ridicule made Tang Boyang's face turn into the color of pig liver. Why did they let you go? Huashidu suddenly asked. Tang Boyang instantly felt guilty. I escaped by myself. After saying this, the atmosphere was silent for a long time. Tang Boyang looked up and met Huashidu's cold gaze. His heart skipped a beat. He only snorted. Is that so? Then he's really a good-for-nothing. Before Tang Boyang could think deeply about this sentence, Huashidu was about to leave. Shidu. Huashidu stopped in his tracks but only put out the cigarette butt. By the way, my daughter is young and doesn't have any concept of marriage. I don't want anyone to cause trouble for me. Chapter 1347. Tang Boyang's expression was terrible. Of course, he knew that this meant that he was terrible and wanted him to stay away from Bei Yunj. As her biological father, how could he be inferior to an outsider? In the long corridor. Master Du, when you went out just now, Mr. Tang made an international call. However, it's a community call. He needs time to investigate, Zhou Yu said. Okay. The man replied indifferently. Did you find out anything just now? Zhou Yu asked cautiously. The fact that he can appear in front of me alive means that he has an unshirkable responsibility for what happened more than 10 years ago. Huashidu's pale-colored eyes were almost cold as the corners of his thin red lips curled up. Qi Wuxiu is crazy, but he's not stupid. Are you sure it's Qi Wuxiu? Zhou Yu did not expect Huashidu to lock onto the suspect so quickly. Qi Wuxiu's usual style is to hide anything that can still be used. Huashidu looked up and saw the girl sitting on the bench on the first floor. His pale-colored eyes, which were filled with indifference, immediately softened. As he unbuttoned his suit jacket, he said leisurely, the net has been open for so many years. How can there only be one fish? By the time Zhou Yu came back to his senses, Huashidu had already stepped forward and draped his jacket over Bei Yunj's slender and fair legs. He knelt on one knee in front of the girl. Why are you back? The man curled his lips and opened his arms to her. Bei Yunj thought for a moment, then slowly picked up the jacket on her knees and covered her head. Huashidu had just raised his eyebrows when Bei Yunj suddenly hugged him and hugged his neck. She hugged the handsome and dignified man in front of her tightly. I'm here to coax our master Du, Huashidu heard someone say lazily. Why are you putting this on your head? Bei Yunj said, I still want my face. After all, there were so many people. She thought for a moment and decided to open her suit jacket with both hands to reveal her furry head. She leaned closer and asked, Do you want it? No. Under everyone's gaze, the man hugged the girl's waist and buttocks and said calmly, Let's take your life first. Not far away, Zhou Yu watched as Huashidu carried a certain someone in Pei Chen's arms and walked down the stairs. Master Du really spoiled Miss Pei like she was his ancestor. But it was true. If it weren't for Bei Yunj, Huashidu would have gone to Continent K long ago and put away this big net that had been set up for more than 10 years. Brother. On the way, Bei Yunj suddenly shouted. Oh? The man was still looking at the road. I'm not saying that you're shameless. Bei Yunj poked her head out of the jacket and realized that there was something wrong with the conversation just now. Okay, cover your face well. Huashidu only sneered and glanced at the little girl. Bei Yunj, did she coax him into becoming angry? Do you not want to see me? Bei Yunj suddenly said this, and even Huashidu stopped in his tracks for a moment. He couldn't remember anything from this child. He only remembered that time when he caught her from the bar and said, Brother will be unhappy when he sees Yunyun now? Bei Yunj saw that the man was silent and consciously retracted her head. But suddenly, Huashidu held her waist and buttocks with one hand and held the back of her head with the other. Then the man raised his chin and kissed her forehead. Bei Yunj was stunned. He gently pulled his jacket over her. The two of them were in the dark and intimate space. The ambiguous atmosphere made her face burn. Hearing his magnetic and hoarse voice, she chuckled. Brother doesn't want others to see our Yun Yun blushing. Chapter 1348. The man's hot breath because of his arousal made her cheeks warm. The corners of Huashidu's lips curled up gently. He rubbed her head and covered the little girl's head with his jacket again. After coming back to her senses, Bei Yunj avoided his gaze and leaned on the man's shoulder again. She did not say a word. The next day, as expected, not long after, Huashidu received news that Fernans had come to Yuncheng. This news quickly spread throughout the upper-class society. Many people could not help but want to meet this business tycoon of our nation. Roland, how are you feeling? Fernans was still very worried about his son. His old eyes were red and he felt very guilty. It was because he was useless that his son was kidnapped and imprisoned for more than 10 years. Dad, I'm fine now. Tang Boyong heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Fernan's concerned expression. It's just that Shidu doesn't seem to want to acknowledge me. As soon as he finished speaking, unexpectedly, Fernan said matter-of-factly, the person who gave birth to him is Hua Jing. The person who raised him is old Madame Hua. How can he acknowledge you? Tang Boyong froze when he heard this. Dad, I already know my mistake. Fernan sighed. Even I can't understand that child, Shidu. It's not easy for you to get his forgiveness. Dad, don't worry. I'll let Shidu see my hard work. Yun University. Bei Yunch had just finished a day of classes and left the teaching building. She walked to the vending machine and bought a can of Coke. She mentioned something to Lu Zhongzhou. Captain Lu, someone followed me today. Followed? Because they were in school, Lu Zhongzhou was not on guard and did not notice at first. 20 meters away, wearing a mask. Bei Yunch prepared to return to the dormitory after speaking. When Lu Zhongzhou heard this, his gaze immediately became vigilant and serious. Indeed, not long after, he discovered a sneaky figure. During this period of time, because Bei Yunj was at Yun University, it could be said that she was very safe, so Team Wolf returned to the base. However, he did not expect that someone would follow Bei Yunj to the school. Hello. Inform Tan Nan that Team Wolf will return to Miss Pei's side immediately, Lu Zhongzhou said. Captain, what happened? With our hunting eagle team here, why did we let Wolf team come back? The team member asked unhappily. Today Miss Pei was followed. None of our team members noticed. If Miss Pei were to report this, she would be punished, Lu Zhongzhou said expressionlessly. Instantly, the expressions of the entire team changed. However, they also knew that Bei Yunj was not the type to complain. I'm warning you, be on your guard during this period of time. I won't allow anyone to touch a single strand of Miss Pei's hair. Yes. Investigation team, investigate the background of the masked man and report to the higher-ups immediately. Got it? The members of the Falcon team were all rubbing their fists. Their bones were itching for a fight. However, the people who were sent to follow him didn't expect that the organization, which originally wanted to avoid Country A's war zone, would be directly exposed to the war zone because of tracking this person. Furthermore, they even ran into two of the most horrifying dagger teams in the war zone. Within a few days, Tang Boyong recovered and was discharged from the hospital. Because of his identity as the most favored young master in the Fernan's family, he was once again surrounded by a group of people who wanted to curry favor with him. The whole family. Huashidu had just returned to the old residence when he saw old Master Fernans chatting with old Madame Hua. Tang Boyong was also there, and there was a young woman sitting beside him. Chapter 1349. It was Bo Jinxiao. After Qin Youjiao was taken down and left the International Musicians Association, Bo Jinxiao's status in the industry rose. After all, no matter what, Bo Jinxiao was the most talented junior in the International Musicians Association, and the current International Musicians Association was on par with her. Shidu. Tang Boyong was the first to speak. After regaining his identity and his previous treatment, Tang Boyong's face was glowing and his eyes were as bright as before. With old Madame Hua around, Huashidu could only go forward. You don't have an appointment to play cards today? Huashidu looked at old Madame Hua. Old Madame Hua's face flushed red in front of everyone. I only play once in a while. How can I go every day? As for Bo Jinxiao, her face was already flushed and she looked embarrassed when she saw Huashidu. Master Du, Huashidu glanced at her carelessly, but there was no emotion in his eyes. However, Tang Boyong was extremely satisfied with Bo Jinxiao. Tang Boyong had always liked girls who studied art, just like Momo's mother. However, Bei Yunj was like Hua Jing, a scientific researcher. She was clearly just a woman. Why did she have to learn such things? Tang Boyong was disgusted. Shidu Chao Chao is a few years younger than you. She can call you brother. Tang Boyang smiled. Oh. Hearing Huashidu's deep voice with a slight raise at the end, Bo Jinxiao's heart thumped wildly. However, Huashidu turned back to look at Tang Boyang and snorted. Is this your illegitimate daughter too? Instantly, the entire place froze. Shidu, what are you talking about? Tang Boyang was furious, but he did not dare to say anything harsh to Huashidu. If she's really an illegitimate daughter, bring her back to Neely as soon as possible, but Momo doesn't like older sisters with unknown backgrounds. Huashidu's attitude was clearly that he did not want to have anything to do with them. At the same time, Tang Boyang's face turned red as he remembered that Huashidu had raised Momo. Bo Jinxiao's expression was ugly and she bit her lip unconsciously. Shidu. Old Madame Hua reprimanded Huashidu lightly. Huashidu casually pulled his tie. I'll go upstairs to see Momo. Shidu, your grandfather is holding a banquet outside tonight. Will you give him face and go? Old Madame Hua's voice was obviously pleading. The elderly were soft-hearted and always hoped that the family would be peaceful and everything would prosper. Go. Huashidu looked at Old Madame Hua and agreed. Old Madame Hua jumped up happily and immediately walked over to pull Huashidu. She whispered, I've already told Gu-er. When the time comes you can bring Gu-er along. It'll save you the trouble. After that, Old Madame Hua glanced at Bo Jinxiao. When Bei Yunj received the message, Higgins also received a message. Nyeyu, boss, aren't you going to say a few words during the celebration? Nyeyu, there have been a lot of social engagements recently and they were all handled by Boss Shang. Nyeyu kept hinting at Bei Yunj, hoping that she would feel a little guilty. However, Bei Yunj glanced at the message and replied calmly. Not free. By the time Bei Yunj had finished replying, she was already on her way to the hotel where the banquet was being held. However, she did not expect Fernans to give the opportunity to set up the banquet to Tang Boyang. In order to matchmake Huashidu and Bo Jinxiao, Tang Boyang had even invited many people from the industry to put pressure on Bei Yunj and embarrass her. Platinum Gold Royal Hotel. Mr. Nye. Fernan's assistant, who was beside Tang Boyang, recognized Nyeyu. Why are you here? With that said, he immediately introduced, Mr. Tang, this is Mr. Nyeyu, a senior executive of Higgins Corporation. Chapter 1350. Seeing that his father's assistant's attitude was surprisingly good, Tang Boyang immediately understood. Mr. Nye, I've long heard of your name. Nyeyu only smiled politely at this gesture of goodwill. Mr. Fernans, you're too polite. His attitude of being neither close nor distant was hard to grasp. However, Tang Boyang also knew that Nyeyu had the confidence. Tang Boyang smiled. President Nye, you can call me Tang Boyang. May I know why President Nye is here at Platinum Gold Royal Hotel today? Nyeyu's expression did not look good when he thought of what had just happened. He gave a fake smile. It's nothing. It's just that our company is having a gathering today and a very important person can't come. A very important person? Tang Boyang and his assistant were surprised. They did not expect someone to not give Nyeyu face. Could it be that person? The assistant quickly thought of someone and his eyes widened. Tang Boyang could not react and could only look at his assistant. Nance's appointed successor, the one who has been in power for a year and made Higgins Corporation regain its glory. However, I've never seen that boss appear. After the assistant finished explaining, seeing that Nyeyu was silent, he knew that it was really that big boss. So, the boss of the Higgins group was very likely to show up here today. A strong sense of pity appeared in the assistant's eyes. Ever since Higgins Corporation regained its glory, the technology industry had developed rapidly and become a popular company. Everyone wanted to squeeze in and build a relationship with Higgins Corporation. However, Shang Yan had always looked easy to talk to, but his heart was like a rock. As for that big boss, there was no news of him in the industry. President Nye, since we're hosting today, why don't you come and support us? Seeing that Nyeyu was worried, Tang Boyang immediately said, settle your internal dinner first. You just have to come and have a drink. Sure. After Nyeyu agreed, joy appeared in Tang Boyang's eyes. So, Bei Yunj, who had just arrived at the door of the private room, heard the discussion inside. Jin Xiao is already so old, but you haven't thought of finding a boyfriend? Tang Boyang asked with a smile. Not only was he satisfied with Bo Jinxiao's identity as a member of the Music Alliance, but he also felt that the Bo family was richer than the Qin family. Even the Qin family's current strength was no less than the Bo family's. Bo Jinxiao blushed. I was worried about my schoolwork and the training of the Musical Alliance was very busy, so there was nothing to talk about, Hearing Bo Jinxiao say this, Tang Boyong looked even more satisfied. Young master is so cute. Actually, I've always wanted a younger brother. Bo Jinxiao changed the topic and looked at the quiet Mo with a smile. However, when she glanced at Asi who was beside Mo, her smile was a little stiff. She was afraid of dogs. When she was brought to the Hua family by Tang Boyong, she wanted to get close to Mo so that the Hua family would notice her, but she was shocked by this Alaskan Malamute. What was even more unexpected was that Mo had brought this dog over today. Mo, why did you bring a dog to a restaurant? Tang Boyong suppressed his impatience and asked. Mo just lowered her head and hugged Alice without saying anything. This angered Tang Boyong so much that his teeth itched. They were clearly his children, but in the end all of them were going against him. Meanwhile, suddenly, a frivolous whistle sounded from the door. Asi, who was licking its fur, was instantly energized and suddenly rushed toward the door. Bei Yunj almost fell from Asi's pounce. Asi wagged its tail and circled her for a long time before she squatted down and stroked its fur comfortingly. Mo's eyes lit up. Sister. Chapter 1351. Seeing Momo running towards Bei Yunj with shining eyes, Tang Boyong and Bo Jinxiao's expressions did not look good. Why did you bring Ergu here? Bei Yunj covered Alas's mouth with one hand, preventing it from approaching. Momo hugged Bei Yunj pitifully. Momo is scared alone. The atmosphere was cold. The rest of the people looked at this little young master who had a cold and noble expression just now. Weren't they human? Bei Yunj raised an eyebrow. Before she could say anything, she heard Tang Boyong laugh coldly. Jinxiao, not all girls are like you. For the sake of the International Music Alliance and studies, they don't even have time to make friends. Some people have been going to men's houses since high school. Bo Jinxiao pretended to be at a loss, but she could not help feeling smug. What was so great about Bei Yunj? Even if Huashidu took a fancy to her, she would not be able to enter Fernanz's house. Bei Yunj glanced at Tang Boyong slowly and only licked his cheeks, suppressing his temper. Brother was the one who seduced sister on purpose. Momo's unexpected words shocked everyone. What? Tang Boyong's face was slapped in public and his expression darkened instantly. Momo, what nonsense are you talking about? I'm not wrong. Sister Yunj should have married me. Brother was the one who secretly threatened me to stay away from sister and didn't let me tell sister. Momo's soft face was filled with coldness. It was all that smiling fox brother's fault. Bei Yunj was speechless. What kind of mess are these two brothers up to behind my back? Tang Boyong was so angry that he could not speak. In the end, he was called away by his assistant, who said that he was picking up a few distinguished guests. On the field, Bo Jinxiao said generously, Miss Pei, you don't have to be polite. Just treat it as your own house. These words were as if she was already the mistress of the house. Hatred flashed past Bo Jinxiao's eyes. She was also deliberately putting Bei Yunj in her place. If it wasn't for Bei Yunj, how could Chu Zhixing, who had always been obedient to her, treat her as a stranger? Soon, she heard the person beside her exclaim in surprise. Miss Bo, your ring looks expensive, right? Bo Jinxiao restrained her emotions and smiled shyly. Uncle Tang gave this to me. Uncle Tang said that he used this ring when he proposed back then. Everyone had different expressions on their faces. Tang Boyong had appointed her as the young madam of the Hua family. The late madam's things had actually been given to Bo Jinxiao. Many people couldn't help but look at Bei Yunj. Some of them felt sorry for her, while others were gloating over her misfortune. Bei Yunj, on the other hand, was drinking her tea. She didn't look angry at all. Miss Pei, you don't seem very happy? Bo Jinxiao suddenly asked. Only then did Bei Yunj look up slowly. Congratulations then. After saying this. Before Bo Jinxiao could speak, she heard her say again, although Mr. Tang is a little older, true love doesn't depend on age. You. Bo Jinxiao's eyes were filled with anger and her pretty face flushed red. However, in order to not lose her dignity, she could only swallow her anger. Then, Bo Jinxiao saw Mo from the corner of her eye and walked over with a plate of desserts. She asked gently, Mo, come and play with me, okay? Who knew? Alas suddenly jumped out from Mo's side and ran toward her with its tail wagging. Bo Jinxiao was so frightened that her face paled and she immediately threw the hot tea on the table at it. Get lost. Get lost. Alas immediately wailed miserably, whimpering softly as it shrunk its tail and hid in the corner, trembling. Alas. Mo immediately ran over, wanting to comfort Alas, but was avoided. It trembled for a while before it lowered its head to lick the spot where it had been scalded. At this moment, Bei Yunj, whose expression had not changed, instantly turned cold. End of chapter. Chapter 1352. Alas. Bei Yunj called out and Alas walked to her side. After Bei Yunj rubbed its head to comfort it, it whimpered dejectedly. Good boy. Bei Yunj coaxed softly. After looking at Alas' horribly scalded wound, the coldness in her eyes deepened. She looked for the hotel manager and took Alas to treat the burn before she glanced at Bo Jinxiao. As for the others, seeing the tense atmosphere, they swallowed and only wanted to escape from the scene of hell. Bo Jinxiao's first reaction was to be afraid of Bei Yunj, but at the thought of the hatred between her and Bei Yunj she only smiled. Miss Pei, I'm really sorry. I heard that this is your dog? In that case I'll pay for all the medical expenses of the dog. Medical expenses? Bei Yunj snorted softly but everyone shivered inexplicably. Miss Pei, it's not appropriate to be unhappy with me at such an occasion because of a dog, is it? A strange glint flashed past Bo Jinxiao's eyes, deliberately angering Bei Yunj. If Bei Yunj really dared to hit her at such an occasion, Tang Boyong would definitely hate this woman even more. Not appropriate? Bei Yunj licked her red lips and laughed ambiguously. The next moment she suddenly grabbed Bo Jinxiao's chin. Bei Yunj, what are you doing? Bo Jinxiao did not expect Bei Yunj to have such a reaction. When she looked up and met her fierce eyes she was shocked. At first she thought that she would at most be slapped by Bei Yunj, but now she was starting to feel afraid when she saw Bei Yunj's gaze. I'm teaching Miss Bo. As long as I want to do it, there's nothing inappropriate. With that said, Bei Yunj pinched her chin and pushed her out ruthlessly. Bo Jinxiao fell against the wall of the corridor, her face pale from fright. Her entire body was in so much pain that it felt like her bones were about to break. Help, help, Miss Pei you. Just as the onlookers were about to say something, Bei Yunj turned around and kicked the half-open door open. The sound of the collision was frightening. She asked calmly, You can't shut your mouth? No one wanted to anger this god of death. Then he came back to his senses. Bo Jinxiao was dragged down the long corridor. What should we do? Go find Mr. Tang? Hurry up and find Mr. Tang. The few of them left in a hurry. But at the same time, the autumn wind was refreshing and the night was already cold. But Bo Jinxiao was thrown into the swimming pool unprepared. Help. After Bo Jinxiao finished speaking, she choked on a few mouthfuls of water and became embarrassed and disheveled. She raised her head with difficulty and splashed water. I don't know how to swim, however. The figure in front of him remained indifferent. He only squatted down and gently stirred the water with his fingertips. Miss Bo, can we have a chat? How much do you think you're worth? Bei Yunj had no intention of saving her. The corners of her lips curled up as her eyes were filled with coldness. Bo Jinxiao shivered and could only flap her arms and legs with all her might. However, her hands and feet were gradually freezing and she choked on more and more water. She was about to lose consciousness. Bei Yunj, how dare you? Suddenly, Tang Boyong, who had rushed over, finished reprimanding her angrily and shouted at the security guard, Aren't you going to save her? The security guard immediately went into the water to fish Bo Jinxiao out and hurriedly pressed her chest to make her spit out the water. However, at this moment, Bo Jinxiao woke up in a sorry state and was trembling all over. End of chapter. Chapter 1353. Uncle Tang? It was Bo Jinxiao's first time being treated like this and she couldn't help but cry. The service staff beside her quickly wrapped a towel around Bo Jinxiao and told her to change her clothes quickly. Jinxiao, don't worry. I'll definitely seek justice for you. Tang Boyong was furious too. When he went to pick up old Master Bo just now, he had been given a lot of attitude. It was not easy for him to ease their relationship, but in the end, this Bei Yunj actually dared to throw him into the water? And it was all because of this bastard. Bei Yunj. These words seemed to have been squeezed out from the gaps between Tang Boyong's teeth. However, Bei Yunj raised his eyebrows and looked at him carelessly for a while. Then he picked up the wine glass on the table and prepared to leave. Stop right there. Where are you going? Tang Boyong gritted his teeth and asked. Bei Yunj glanced at him and asked casually, Why aren't you eating? Are you staying here to watch over your coffin? You. Tang Boyong was so angry that blood rushed into his brain and his eyes turned black. How could there be such an unscrupulous bastard? Even Huijing back then did not make Tang Boyong so angry that he had a cerebral hemorrhage. After Bei Yunj left, he did not go upstairs. Instead, he stopped at the corner of the dark corridor. Shen Yuan, help me find out where Tang Boyong has been these few years. The person on the other end of the line was surprised. Tang Boyong? The one from the Fernan's family? Max, do you have a feud with him? Shen Yuan added, that's not right. Isn't your partner the heir of the Fernan's family? Is there a problem? Bei Yunj asked. That's your future father-in-law. He's almost half a father. Yes, so he better pray that he's not doing anything illegal. Otherwise, I can save the money of sending him to a nursing home and just send him to the police station. Bei Yunj smiled. Shen Yuan was speechless. What kind of disrespectful speech was this? He didn't understand and asked, aren't you afraid that if you send your father-in-law to prison, the one in your family will cut off all ties with you? Bei Yunj tilted her head. Why aren't you worried that I'll coax my partner into bed while she's heartbroken? Shen Yuan, the scum was actually right beside her. That's outrageous. She dares to be arrogant just because Shirdu dotes on her? Tang Boyong was furious. The assistant said softly, Sir, I heard from the butler that old master likes Miss Pei. It was not easy to make old Mr. Fernan's like her. You put on an act in front of my father, but in front of me, you show your true colors. Tang Boyong sneered. When he walked into the private room, he heard old Master Bo frown and ask, What happened? I heard you cursing from afar. Old Master Bo did not treat Tang Boyong well because when the Bo family and the Hua family were on good terms in the past, he knew that the Hua family's daughter had been cheated on. Therefore, in old Master Bo's eyes, Tang Boyong was a complete scumbag. Old Master Bo, I'm really sorry. Jin Xiao is filial and specially came to the banquet, but she was thrown into the swimming pool. A dark look flashed past Tang Boyong's eyes and he pretended to sigh angrily. Fernan's had a very good impression of this old Master Bo. Since he could not offend him, he would let Bei Yunj teach him a lesson this time. What? Hearing that Bo Jinxiao was humiliated, old Master Bo's expression darkened. Grandpa Bo, especially at this time, Bo Jinxiao's face was pale and she was being helped in crying. Digression. Before publishing, I brought the lost children home and did A/B poster campaign. Follow this book's post after being doted on by the big shots, an old Su on Weibo. For every 100 posts, you will be given a B poster. There are only 100 posters for this campaign. The B poster is Director Lin personally draping the national flag over Master Pei. Apart from that, children who want to be published have to follow the news on Weibo. Old Su can't send the link to you. Chapter 1354. Although old Master Bo did not dote on this distant granddaughter who was not closely related to him by blood, she had indeed grown up in the Bo family. What the hell is going on? Bo Jinxiao started to cry. She only said that she had accidentally spilled water on the other party's pet and had been thrown into the water. Grandpa Bo, you know that Jinxiao is afraid of water. If it wasn't for Mr. Tang just now, she would have really died there. Tang Boyong immediately acted like an elder and said humbly, Old Master Bo, I didn't protect Jinxiao well. The woman my son raised is actually so daring. Shidu's woman? Old Master Bo's originally dark face immediately brightened. Tang Boyong hurriedly explained, Yes. But Old Master Bo, you know that the heir of our Fernan's family will never agree to a vase marrying into our family. Actually, even if it was the Bo family, it would be too good for them to be matched with the Fernan's family. However, Tang Boyong did not want Huashidu to marry a woman from our country. In his opinion, Huashidu was even harder to control. Old Master Bo frowned and felt that these words were a little ear-piercing. He only said calmly, Let her come and eat. In the ears of others, Old Master Bo was ready to pursue the matter. At the same time, in the medical room, a lass was forced to shave off its fur. Miss, your beloved dog is a little fierce. The doctor did not know where to start. After being scalded, a lass' personality suddenly became much fiercer and it did not let strangers get close to it. Bei Yunj could only put on her latex gloves and sit beside a lass. Ergu, do you see if there's anything to eat in my pocket? Alas had just turned its head when Bei Yunj pressed Alas' head down and said slowly, Shave it quickly. The doctor reacted and immediately started to prepare. On the other hand, Alas' body trembled and it felt that a disaster was about to befall it. It struggled with all its might. However, it did not dare to hurt its master. Alas saw that most of its fur had gone bald and its pitiful dog eyes were filled with shock, as if it had been dealt a huge blow. After the medicine was applied, Alas turned its head and turned its back to Bei Yunj, ignoring her. Ergu? Alas pretended not to hear her. Bei Yunj licked her lips and chuckled. She slowly took off her gloves and said, "Don't do that, Guzi. For you, I was prepared to be bitten and get a rabies vaccine." Hearing the interaction between the man and the dog, the doctors held back their laughter. Not long after, Bei Yunj received a phone call. Tang Boyang said in an extremely bad tone, "Are you still not coming back? Do you know shame after doing such a thing?" Bei Yunj hung up the phone before she could finish. "Sister, Alice won't die, right?" Momo's eyes were red as she asked while choking with sobs. "No, but Mo wants to have a meal with her sister first, and then come to pick up Alice." "All right." Momo ran to Eris and gave him some instructions in a childish voice. Then she left with Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj and Mo were outside the private room when they heard the angry voices inside. "Is such a woman worthy of entering our Fernan's family? What a joke. Uncle Tang, don't let Master Du hear your words." Yuhan Ran did not try to persuade him. He only gloated and added fuel to the fire. Meanwhile, Nyeyu, who had just arrived, listened with relish. Occasionally he would condemn her in his heart. He did not expect such a vicious woman to exist in this world. However, when Bei Yunj kicked the door open, Bo Jinxiao, who was crying, immediately shivered. Chapter 1355. Bei Yunj, are you unapologetic? Tang Boyang questioned with a dark face. At this moment, Nyeyu was even more dumbfounded when he saw Bei Yunj appear in front of him. What the F***ck was going on? Wasn't this person not free to attend their company gathering? The atmosphere was cold, but before anyone could react, they heard Yuhan Ran say with a smile, Master Pei, come sit with me." Bei Yunj glanced at him lazily, but sat on the other side, not giving Yuhan Ran any face. This was very big boss. However, Yuhan Ran did not get angry. He only spoke to Bei Yunj with a cheeky smile. Until the next moment, everyone saw old Master Bo suddenly stand up and pick up the wine glass on the table. His face was dark, and even his hand that was holding the wine glass seemed to be trembling with anger. Seeing this, everyone gasped. Even the atmosphere became tense. They did not dare to imagine what kind of terrifying scene would happen next. "Old Master Bo, I didn't manage my son well. When I go back..." Tang Boyang had just suppressed the smile on his face and wanted to say something when old Master Bo interrupted him agitatedly. "Your teacher Huayuan?" Old Master Bo was almost incoherent as he asked her nervously and softly. Instantly, the atmosphere was broken and everyone was dumbfounded. Why would old Master Bo call this female student teacher? Bei Yunj did not have any impression of old Master Bo and could not help but raise his eyebrows. "You are?" Old Master Bo was extremely excited. "Teacher, I was a member of the International Musicians Association 2 years ago. It was all thanks to you that I was able to enter the International Musicians Association successfully." Bei Yunj remembered. "You don't have to thank me. I'm just doing it because you're talented." Old Master Bo's score back then was very favored by Bei Yunj. Although the other examiners did not allow it, they could not resist Bei Yunj's love and old Master Bo's ability to understand. "Teacher, I'll toast you. I really didn't expect to meet you here." Ever since old Master Bo found out that Yuan was the eldest daughter of the Qin family, he wanted to visit her, but he was afraid that it would be rude. That was why he was so excited today. But when Tang Boyang saw this scene, his face almost froze and his brain was in a mess. Wasn't Bei Yunj a physics student at Yunhua University? How did she get involved with the International Musicians Association? Back then, Tang Boyang had also taken a fancy to Bo Shan's identity as a member of the Qiaoyin Alliance, so he wanted her to be with Huashidu. After all, the Profound Note Alliance's connections were a huge asset. She didn't expect Bei Yunj to be a member of the International Musicians Association, and her status wasn't low either. Tang Boyang turned around and saw that Bo Jinxiao's eyes were red. It was obvious that she already knew Bei Yunj's identity. His face instantly darkened. Why didn't this idiot tell him about this earlier? As expected. Then old Master Bo asked in confusion, "Teacher, did Jinxiao offend you in some way?" Bei Yunj suddenly raised her eyebrows with interest. "What did she tell you?" Old Master Bo immediately understood that there must be a reason behind this. His face darkened. "Guangqiao, are you still not going to tell the truth?" Bo Jinxiao immediately knelt down and looked at old Master Bo with a panicked expression. "Grandpa Bo, I was careless. I accidentally scalded Miss Pei's dog." When everyone saw this, they all had different thoughts. "Jinxiao, the Bo family has already done their best to raise you. And now you have the ability to earn your own living. Old Master Bo's words made Bo Jinxiao's face turn pale. Was he chasing her out of the Bo family? Chapter 1356. Grandpa Bo Jinxiao really didn't do it on purpose. Bo Jinxiao crawled toward Old Master Bo like crazy, crying and shaking her head desperately as she grabbed his sleeve. Old Master Bo frowned, but his heart had softened. He softened his tone. Jinxiao, I believe you have the ability to support yourself. When you go out, I'll give you a house in the city center. The house that Old Master Bo gave her was worth at least 50 million yuan. However, Bo Jinxiao was unwilling to give up. If she stayed in the Bo family, she could have gotten more. And all of this was because of Bei Yunch. With others around, Bo Jinxiao did not want to embarrass herself, so she left early. However, this meal still did not feel good. Nieyu could not help but be afraid of Bei Yunch. Unexpectedly, Tang Boyang insisted on getting close to him and said with a smile, "Xiao Nye, you're really young and promising. Let me give you a toast." Nieyu was speechless. This Tang Boyang would not stop until he was dead, right? Mr. Tang, if you have anything to say, you can say it directly. Nieyu gave a fake smile. Xiao Nye, you're joking. I just feel like I've known you for a long time and we can be friends despite our age difference. A glint flashed past Tang Boyang's eyes, but he had an idea in his heart. Even if he did not do anything, he could let this arrogant B*TCH of the Qin family offend Higgins's people. By then she would not even know how she died. I heard that recently the technology product line of Higgins' Yunqing department has collided with the Qin corporations a lot. Tang Boyang smiled calmly. Could it be that there's a collaboration? With that said, everyone on the scene fell silent. Higgins Corporation's scientific research product line had always been the company's trump card. How could they let others have a share of this pie? However, the Qin Corporation had collided with the same products one after another. Had Higgins's trade secrets been leaked, their scalps turned numb. The Qin family was so daring. Weren't they courting death? Even Yu Hanran could not help but worry for Bei Yunch this time. However, when Nieyu looked at Bei Yunch, he saw Bei Yunch glancing at Tang Boyang coldly. Then she sneered and stood up lazily. Before Bei Yunch left, she turned around and asked Yu Hanran, "Do you have a cigarette? I'm going out for a walk." The entire arena was silent. Was this eldest young miss of the Qin family a lunatic, or was she really stupid? Wasn't he taking Higgins too lightly? Tang Boyang also looked on coldly, the corners of his mouth curled up in a mocking smile. After Yu Hanran had an epiphany, it was as if he was facing a formidable enemy. "Master Pei, don't harm me." If Huashidu knew that he was the one who gave him this ancestor's cigarette, he would be able to think about what color he should choose for his urn. Bei Yunch was just about to say something when she noticed that Mo was blinking her big, curious eyes, as if she would be led astray by her in the next moment. Hence, she could only turn around and leave. "I'm going out to buy candy." However, while Bei Yunch was waiting for the elevator, she suddenly heard an impatient voice. "I say, you old thing, why are you still so greedy when you're already half a foot into the ground? Hurry up and take your things and scram. Sionia won't see you." Bei Yunch had also heard the other person's voice in the physics department. It was Professor Sun Jiaping from the physics department. Professor Sun Jiaping was very respected in his early years, but in the past few years, he had held a lot of lectures and worked as a technical consultant for big companies. He was scoffed at by the academic circle and his own students, and was called the disgraceful scum of the academic circle. He actually had the nerve to stay at Yun University for such a blatant money grubber? Chapter 1357. She saw that Sun Jiaping was wearing clothes that had been washed too many times. He looked thin and his hunched back became even hunchier. Sun Jiaping was not good at pleasing people. "Mr. Nya, please be magnanimous. Please give me a chance. Just let me give it to President Nya." Bei Yunch narrowed her eyes casually. The elevator was about to arrive. "Old man, I think you're tired of living. Get lost. You're a person who tarnished Yun University's reputation. How dare you work with Higgins?" The person who spoke was extremely arrogant. "I don't know where you got the news and how you got into Platinum Gold Royal Hotel. But I won't let my cousin talk to you. If you don't get lost, I'll beat you to death." "Mr. Nye?" Sun Jiaping saw that Nye Cheng was about to snatch his project book and tear it apart. His expression changed and he immediately held it in his arms. "Old man, you're really courting death." Nye Cheng sneered and stretched out his leg to kick Sun Jiaping. Sun Jiaping was originally a researcher. Now that his hair was white, he was powerless to fight back and his face was pale. At this moment, Bei Yunj looked down and her eyes could not be seen clearly. But when the elevator door opened, she suddenly turned around. Nie Ching was about to give Sun Jiaping another hard punch, but Bei Yunj suddenly raised her leg and kicked him in the stomach. Her eyes were cold and ruthless. Nie Ching howled in pain and fell back half a meter. At this moment, he curled up in pain, and his face was instantly covered in sweat. Bei Yunj? Although Sun Jiaping was a professor in Bei Yunj's department, he had little contact with Bei Yunj. He only heard that before Bei Yunj entered Yun University, she had gotten into countless fights and caused trouble. You're a student of Yun University? Nie Cheng's ribs were still hurting. He felt that the kick made him feel uncomfortable. He gritted his teeth. Bitch, how dare you offend me? Believe it or not, even if you graduated from Yun University, no laboratory will dare to take you in. Bei Yunj glanced at Sun Jiaping. The rules of Higgins are that the projects submitted by the academicians of Country A must be reviewed by the higher-ups. Don't you know? Rules? Nie Ching said arrogantly, in Yunqing I am Higgins's rule. What was an academician? Are there not many academicians who want to work with us? Bei Yunj sneered, Nie, you can't even control this bunch of trash. Nie was not Shang Yin and had little experience in management. I think you're courting death. Nie Cheng flew into a rage out of humiliation, while Sun Jiaping subconsciously wanted to protect his student. Bei Yunj looked at Sun Jiaping who was standing in front of her. Her eyes flickered, but the next moment she said to Nie Cheng who was strangling Sun Jiaping, "Let go." Nie Chinggang sneered, but before he could mock him, the hand holding his arm dislocated it. He howled in pain. Who are you? How dare you treat me like this? Aren't you afraid that my cousin will make trouble for you? Bei Yunj stretched his muscles and walked up to him step by step. He said casually, I'll deal with Nyeyu later. She raised her eyes and suddenly stepped on his abdomen, slowly grinding it. Nye Ching trembled in pain. As for you, I have to use you to teach those idiots at Higgins how not to be stupid. As soon as she finished speaking, Bei Yunj suddenly kicked him in the ribs. Nye Cheng's whole body hit the wall with a muffled sound. Nye Cheng's two assistants felt a chill on their backs. They didn't know what to do. But soon they secretly ran to tell Nyeyu. Chapter 1358. Bei Yunj, stop it. Sun Jiaping was dumbfounded. When he came back to his senses, he immediately wanted to stop Bei Yunj, who was grabbing Nye Cheng and punching him. She was really a newborn calf that was not afraid of a tiger. If President Nye found out about this, even the Qin family would not be able to protect Bei Yunj. Professor Sun were not in school. Just turn a blind eye to this. Bei Yunj had just kicked Nye Cheng's abdomen with her knee and said leisurely. Sun Jiaping did not dare to look at this scene. How did the Qin family and Director Lin raise their daughter to be so violent? Professor Sun, save me, please save me. This girl is a lunatic. Nye Cheng, whose bones were hurting, had already lost his courage. He desperately crawled towards Sun Jiaping. However, Bei Yunj stepped on him and said with a gentle smile, Let's play a game? If you say one more word, I'll break one of your bones. As soon as she finished speaking, the crisp sound of bones breaking was heard. What followed was Nye Cheng's screams. Bei Yunj. Bei Yunj heard Tang Boyang's exasperated voice again. She turned her head and saw Tang Boyang, Nyeyu, and the others appear. Cousin, save me. Nye Cheng, who was on the verge of death, suddenly said agitatedly. What are you waiting for? Hurry up and carry Mr. Nye to the hospital. Tang Boyang ordered the others. At this moment, Bei Yunj also stopped. However, after the hotel's doctor hurriedly checked Nye Cheng's injuries and sent him to the hospital, he heard Tang Boyang's cold laughter that was trembling with anger. You're really something. In just one night, you threw one person into the pool and almost drowned, and you beat the other person until his bones were fractured and sent to the hospital. Bei Yunj, do you really think that you can do whatever you want just because Shidu is protecting you? Tang Boyang wanted Bei Yunj to offend Tang Boyang, but he did not want to drag him down at this juncture. He was the one who brought Bei Yunj here. What would Nyeyu think if she hurt her? Bei Yunj didn't even look at him. He just asked lightly, according to Higgins's rule, the projects of the academicians of the Academy of Engineering of Country A should be reviewed by the higher-ups. Nyeyu, have you forgotten? Nyeyu's expression was ugly. When he saw Sun Jiaping, who seemed to have been beaten up, he moved his lips but was unable to say anything. Just now, the assistants had exaggerated the story, but when he saw the injuries on Sun Jiaping's body, he knew the truth. Tang Boyang's eyes widened. He never thought that Bei Yunj would dare to teach Nieyu a lesson. Even Yu Hanran couldn't help but silently send a message to Huashidu. This ancestor really knew how to cause trouble. If Huashidu still did not come, Bei Yunj might be beaten to death by Nieyu, but in the next moment, Nieyu walked up to Sun Jiaping and bowed solemnly. Professor Sun, it's my fault for not teaching my subordinates well. I've embarrassed Higgins. Everyone was in disbelief. What's going on? Isn't Boss Nye going to stand up for his brother? Why did he listen to Bei Yunj and even take the initiative to apologize? It's fine, it's fine. Boss Nye, I've finally met you. I'm here this time to show you my project book. Before Sun Jiaping could hand the project book to Nieyu saw the message Bei Yunj had sent him. His face turned pale. I'll give Shang Yin face this matter. Go back to Neely and follow him. I'll find someone else to manage Yun City. He knew very well that based on Bei Yunj's temper, if it weren't for Shang Yin, Bei Yunj would have cleaned up the sect long ago. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.